Like every other unique character, our protagonist was ordered to save this dying world by the goddess. But wait, this isn't a reincarnating into another world story. This is a reincarnating back to your world story. He gave his all to this cause. During the process, he was heavily injured. At a young age, when his arrows should be in different beaches every weekend, he's the one with many arrows pierced in his body. At this point, he's tired. His body won't move. His vision is blurring. Kang Hanbit falls to the ground and dies. 31 regressions, 17 possessions, and 7 reincarnations. Most of this video's viewers aren't Asians, so let me do the math for you. This adds up to the 55th time Mr. Kang Hanbit has died. Another cycle wasted. The soul goes back to the goddess. And oh wow, no wonder bro died 55 times to get some spiritual action. She asks if they should try reincarnation this time, but Hanbit has had enough of this. She doesn't want to be an errand boy to this expressionless being anymore. She's the one who kidnapped Hanbit from his original world and threw him into another world with the goal of finding airport. Like our goat with a massive LARPing fan, Subaru Natsuki, Hanbit has died many agonizing deaths over and over again. Unlike Subaru, he didn't gain any lap naps or cute maids, so his motivation ran out, and he still has no clue about airport. He tells the expressionless, nonchalant baddie to find airport or whatever herself. Unfortunately, doing so would destroy the world, so she needs a puppet like him. Hanbit argues that his mental state is worsening, but the goddess already confirmed all 3 of Hanbit's brain cells are working fine. It's true though, the goddess always heals his body after every cycle. However, she can't remove the traumatizing memories. Ignoring him, she proceeds. Dude throws a few abuses at her until she finally admits that Hanbit has actually done great, and he has every right to return to his original world. Maybe the real airport was the journey he had all along. Without entertaining any further questions, Hanbit is kicked out of the spiritual realm. The goddess's last line was that she would still keep an eye on him, hinting that this ain't over yet. 18 months have passed since Hanbit is back in his original world. At first, his mind was all messed up, but the memories of his real world have slowly started coming back. The goddess kidnapped him right before that military enrollment. He just got discharged yesterday. He even had to do military service 5 times among those 55 cycles, so he has seen all the different stages, from giant Vikings to hunting cotton pickers, to becoming the calculators to now rainbow people. Right now, Hanbit has just landed an internship. Out of all his lives, this world, hands down, has the worst economy. He hopes to finish the internship on the high road, so he lands the J-word thing by the end of it. Just then, he receives a message from his only friend in the last 18 months. He owes him a lot, so he agrees to meet up. He also reveals to Hanbit that he has a present to give. At the cafe, Hanbit meets up with Ju Yum-woo, who's like a happy dog who never has to work for his meals. A happy dog who just came back from the bushes with the neighbor's female dog. Yum-woo is a senior from the army despite being 5 years younger than Hanbit. Hanbit sees him as a friend, so he cuts the bullshitty and asks for the gift straight away. Yum-woo says that they shouldn't skip to the main event right away, but seeing Hanbit, a dear friend, get up and leave if not for the gift, Yum-woo brings out the level 2 RP membership card for the popular game he's been playing these days. This card will help him get the VR gear to play the Record Project game at home. The card costs 5 million won, but Yui-woo is a generous friend. Hanbit will happily be his dog, let alone friend, if Yui-woo keeps up this generosity. The jokes aside, Hanbit reveals that he starts work tomorrow. Corporate slavery won't allow him any time to play games. Yui-woo already knows Hanbit's top priority is making money because of his family's financial condition, so obviously Hanbit declines to accept the gift to focus on his main goal. Money is not everything. Like a good friend, he rubs Hanbit's romantic life in his face, saying that Hanbit's romantic life is as colorful as a line at Popeye's cash counter. Hanbit retaliates. Yui-woo then reveals that RP is more popular than CP. Cyberpunk, that is. Playing it the right way can make them earn hundreds of millions. Hanbit sits back, apologizes for gently plucking a few silky smooth hair strands on Yui-woo's beautiful shiny head, and humbly requests more details regarding the 100 million topic. RP is created by Team Zero, whose founder stated that he will hand over all the rights of RP to the first player who clears the game. Somebody knows there are more ways to attract public attention than leaks. Now the value of in-game currency has skyrocketed, and there are more players in the game than there are influencers crying in their car about a brand deal falling through. People are even selling strategy guides for their own desirable prices. Hanbit appreciates Yoon Yui going this far to let him play. Like a good friend, he agrees solely for the joy it would bring to Yoon Yui. Earning hundreds of millions is also just a small part of his motivation. Like only 99.998%. They head straight to the special event zone. The big crowd here is proof of RP's popularity. By RP, I mean Record Project, not Rejected Proposal in case you're feeling insecure. Since the game is tough for beginners, Yui-woo buys a beginner's guide first written by Adventurer A. It's a really popular guide that helped almost every beginner. Hanbit opens the book and feels as if someone opened his legs. The contents of this book blow him away. Just then, he imagines the goddess saying that she would find him again soon. The main goal of this game, the final quest of the popular game Record Project, is to find Urport. For the past 18 months, Hanbit couldn't help thinking about what she meant by looking forward to seeing him in his original world. Why did she let him go before accomplishing her goal? Now he knows. She hasn't set him free yet. Woo wonders why Hanbit looks like he just caught a glitch in the Matrix. Hanbit comes back to his senses and asks Woo about this Team Zero. Turns out there's not much information about the current CEO, Michael Welton's youngest daughter with the biggest cake. Everything about her and the developers' team is still confidential. Hanbit wonders if it's somehow linked to the goddess. If creating a game was possible, why did Hanbit have to go through the sickening feeling of taking someone's life? Why did he have to experience all the pain and agony of dying every time? Why did he have to feel the despair of being caught in an endless loop? He doesn't want to go back to that hell, but this game can serve more like a closure. He's expected to receive the gear within 2 hours, so he heads back home. Woo asks him to contact him as soon as he's done with creating an account. The story takes a massive time jump of 2 hours. The 5001 gaming console is here, and just as you would expect after spending so much money, it looks just as flashy as it should. It also has some complimentary B&D stuff. Hanbit locks the door since there is still time for his mom's arrival. He puts on the B&D stuff, and turns out those are for wrists and ankles for smooth movement in the game. Just like the military scenario, poor Hanbit gets no choice in character creation. He wonders if it's a glitch or something and tries to reboot the system, but it keeps saying character creation failed. The system wants Hanbit to get through this before logging out. After a couple of tries, the system detects an existing avatar and sets it up for Hanbit. He's sure that this intervention must be the courtesy of that expressionless beach. Hanbit enters the game and spawns in the port city named Edlin. He looks exactly like he did during the final regression, so he's sure of the goddess's forceful intervention now. He wonders if she wants him to start over because he would rather bend over than start over. Just then he receives a message from Loper, asking him to add up. Hanbit figures that it must be Woo. After putting intense pressure on all 3 of his brain cells, Hanbit finds the add as friend option and meets up with Loper. We'll refer to him as Losper instead of Woo now because it's less alphabet for my lazy to write. Losper still has that happy dog face as if the Prego test of that female dog from the bushes just came back negative. Losper wonders why Hanbit made his avatar almost identical to real life. Since he can't tell Losper about that sadist baddie, he avoids the question. Losper doesn't inquire further. That's because there's a bigger issue to undressing here. Hanbit's nickname in the game is Black Dragon. Even Hanbit cringes at the goddess's naming sense. What is she? A Clash Royale player? Locanonly cornier than 6-7 meme writers. Black Dragon orders this laughing dog who thinks life is all sunshine and rainbows to change the name. But to his bad luck, usernames are hardlocked to the biometric data. Black Dragon is a long name. Should we just shorten it to Black Daiho? Nah, Hanbit's cool. Hanbit is already irritated, and this 5-year younger guy laughing at him pushes him off the edge. It's time for some man-to-man wrestling. Loper then asks Hanbit to check his notifications, as he sent him an invite to join Loper's stream. He only has a small audience right now, but he still regularly streams with this built-in broadcasting option in RP. Again, by RP, I mean Record Project and not Rice People. He enjoys streaming as it allows him to spam, chat, is this tough? Chat, am I cooked? Chat, is this real? Or chat, how to get invited to Big Stein's Island type of questions. This is the type of people who, even after leaving the stream and having a nice time with their waifu pillows, say, chat, why isn't it getting up? Anyways, Loper will handle hosting the stream himself so Hanbit can focus on the game. They'll split the profits half each. If it blows up because of Hanbit, he'll get a higher cut. The streaming doesn't sound so bad to Hanbit now. He agrees to join, solely to make his friend happy. 50-50 profit is just a small part of his motivation, like only 990%. He joins the stream, and right away the chat starts discussing the new edgelord streamer. They wonder if Hanbit has just hit that phase where he's angry at everyone and thinks he's Ayana Koji or something. It would make sense if he named it Black Dragon's Detached Die, but right now it's just corny. Dragon my balls on yo face. Loper asks Hanbit to play it cool and not let these comments get to him. After all, he intentionally oiled up and lay face down the moment he named himself Black Dragon. Now then, Loper suggests Hanbit check his skills as the system scans a player and recommends 3 best fit skills. Hanbit wonders if the techniques he learned during those 55 regressions would show up. To their surprise, lots of system windows pop up at once, leaving both the guys in a frozen state. Getting one hidden skill is rare but not unexpected. Getting so many is something that never happens. Just like hearing an intelligent statement from that orange fish. Hanbit recognizes all of them from his 55 life cycles. He's optimistic to use them as a stepping stone to grow, so he can find out the differences between this game and the world that tortured him, to ultimately figure out the goddess's intentions. He starts with the fire attribute magic. The chat immediately bashes this fantasy freak edgelord for picking magic. Turns out, the most important thing in this game is proficiency. Building proficiency for magic is as hard as being a cop and not taking out G in the hood. Once the proficiency is maxed out, you get awarded a star, but you can't see how far along you are before getting a star. This reminds Hanbit that in his 55 cycles, magic was indeed the hardest to learn. He had to rely on a sensei to teach him. He asks Loper if there's someone here who can teach magic, but Loper reveals that a player gets awarded a book that allows him to learn skills once he completes quests. The NPCs in this game are not that high level to teach anyone. Respect to NPCs for not selling their courses with the title of Make $100 gazillion in 9 seconds by joining my course that only cost $1,000 per week and all your brain cells. Hanbit thinks that skill books are more convenient than a strict sensei who would bully him every day. Oh, to be stepped on by a sensei like this. Nah, lock in, bro. Locker reveals that they can buy fire attribute magic from this merchant named Julio. For some reason, Hanbit hates that ugly scammer. He claims that Julio is a villain who scams others. There's a Julio in the chat not being too happy about it. This was a first donation, so Locker reveals to Hanbit that he just earned 501. His face lights up like a big-nosed person finding a coin on the floor. He wonders if 1001 even means anything to Loper. It is indeed insignificant for Loper, but business is business. For Hanbit, it's not insignificant. If Loper and 1001 were drowning, Hanbit would save 1001 without any hesitation. Us bro. Loper then suggests heading to Julio's store, but Hanbit wants to find that fire sensei. He asks Loper if he knows about Atsubel. Loper warns Hanbit that he's giving Chad another opportunity to bash him by asking about the quest use NPC named Atsubel. She gets arrested for fraud and is never seen again. Many people requested on the forums that the devs add an Atsubel route because they are down bad for her, but nothing happened. Hanbit is still set on going to meet Atsubel first, but after Loper and Chat's convincing, he decides to interrogate Julio first so he can explain the "why did you redeem it" scenario. No one is believing Hanbit that Julio is a fraud, so a bet is made. 10,000 to Hanbit if he's right. Some juicy eye candy, a belly dance by Hanbit if he's wrong. Before Loper could show him the way, Hanbit suggests a shortcut to Julio's call center. Loper wonders how Hanbit knows the route despite his first time playing, so Hanbit simply calls it a gut feeling. They finally arrive and Hanbit wasn't lying when he called him an ugly fatso. Greedy expressions, hand rubbing, goblin type of punchable face, that's Julio. Seeing his disgusting face brings back annoying memories when Hanbit became a victim of his fraud. The NPCs in the game play an important role. They can even block the game progression. Hanbit's face turns all scary. He's as angry as doctors when they find the guy who invented a stethoscope. He barges into the store and grabs the goblin by his collar and curses him for still being alive. Chat couldn't believe it. They didn't think Hanbit was this serious about Julio. Mr. Hairy Ballface tries to play it cool by saying that isn't he looking for the spellbook. He frees himself from Hanbit and proceeds with the quest. The last spellbook was sold just a moment ago, but he can suggest another shop if Hanbit does a small job for him. He claims that a robbery took place in his store and he has proof that it was done by his rival merchant Atsubel. A new quest appears to apprehend General Merchant Atsubel to get a recommendation letter for the Fireball spellbook. Chad is now waiting with a tissue box and lotion for Hanbit to step out of the store and bless them with a juicy dance. Hanbit fully believes that Julio is lying because Atsubel is his true magic mentor and benefactor. Because he was training under her, Hanbit was framed in his first cycle and sent to prison. Julio fabricated evidence and bribed the soldiers to make sure Atsubel and Hanbit suffer. He confirms from Loper that once Atsubel goes to prison, she's not coming back. Julio thinks that he has finally gotten control of Hanbit, but to his surprise, Hanbit starts breaking stuff like a drunk father on a random weekend. After turning his store upside down, Hanbit finally finds the money pouch that Julio claimed to be stolen. A new quest appears with the task to apprehend the scammer named Julio. Chat is stunned to see that Hanbit was actually right. This guy with a pubic mustache is actually a scammer. Before he could say anything else, Hanbit warmly and respectfully introduces Mr. Fat Nose to the underside of his shoe soles. Julio is knocked out while Hanbit realizes how it feels to step on dog shit. Black Dragon has just found a quest that no one ever did before him. The city guards rush in, and the cutscene starts playing where the crying hippopotamus is dragged to the prison. At least with his breathtaking looks, Julio can drop the soap in prison as many times as he wants without anyone sneaking up. Hanbit finally got rid of Julio. It did play out differently because in those 55 cycles he had to fight the bribed guards and hand Julio over to someone trustworthy. The quest is cleared and a new quest will appear when he arrives at Atsubel's store. Slopper is amazed that Hanbit didn't get bamboozled by that bamboo jumper merchant. Hanbit needs a solid cover-up to explain how he knew Julio was a scammer, so he claims to be a fan of fantasy novels. He read an identical plot from an out-of-print novel, so he took a shot. Mr. Happy Dog has no reason to doubt this extremely absurd statement because Hanbit did read quite a few fantasy novels in front of Loper during their military time. Honoring the bet, the anonymous viewer donated 10k1. Loper is good at engaging with the viewers, so Hanbit leaves the hosting to him and sticks to what he's good at, being the MC of this story. The guys walk towards Atsubel's store while talking about how the NPC disappears off the map once they are taken to prison. Hanbit is low-key happy that Atsubel will now get the respect she deserves. An important character being labeled as a petty criminal is unfair. To him, Atsubel was an amazing mentor, a girl sincere with her work, a girl sincere with her student, a caring teacher, who assured him that she would get him out of prison no matter what. The only person who believed in Hanbit's innocence. Unfortunately, her store was set on fire with her inside. Atsubel was a precious yet painful memory for him. Right now, he can finally see that pretty face again. The girl he respects a lot is right in front of him. He greets Atsubel and shares his wish to learn magic from her. Atsubel has no reason to take someone she just met as her student. Of course, Hanbit is prepared for this situation. Meanwhile, Mr. Elding from the chat wants to marry mommy Atsubel and for her to step on him. Before Hanbit says anything, Atsubel asks if he's Black Dragon. She knows him as the one who uncovered Julio's dirty schemes. She knew he would cause trouble one day because nothing good could come out of an inflated condom. She thanks Hanbit for saving her from an ugly situation. The two of them then bond over their mutual hatred for that partially evolved species. Back to the magic book that Hanbit asked for. Before she could say anything more, Hanbit reveals that he's aware of Atsubel looking for a cure. He says that the things on her desk gave him a clue. Atsubel bites her lip as he gets a bit impatient to inquire more. She asks Hanbit how much he knows about medicine. He claims to know enough, so Atsubel tests it by asking for the name of the disease that causes blue pupils, dizziness, and vomiting. Hanbit fails to name this blue ray disease or whatever, which disappoints Atsubel. She has been fooled many times by those self-proclaimed experts into spending lots of money. She won't let anyone crush her hopes again. Imagine being scammed and exploited all your life just to be framed as a fraud and killed in prison. She's indeed a tragic character. Hanbit doesn't know the name, but he knows the other symptoms, and he knows how to cure it. Atsubel has once again gotten her hopes up. She requests Hanbit to help her. He assures Atsubel that he'll definitely bring the cure. A quest appears to cure Atsubel's mother's disease and receive 2,000 gold, and Atsubel's fireball spellbook as reward. Given how pure and pretty she is, man would have done it for 0 rewards. The guaranteed epic book is crazy. Loper and chat are stunned. Since Hanbit isn't aware of the ranking system, Loper explains that he should think of rank as level tier and grade as the rarity. This here is the ranking system from common to mythic. The quest is a little too beneficial. A rare spellbook and mythical baddie. What a combo. To avoid confusion in the future, the same spellbook can have any rank. The higher the rank, the stronger the ability. This wasn't a thing in Hanbit's regression world, so he needs to see for himself just how good the epic one is to understand the ranking system. Loper asks Hanbit what their next destination is. Just as Bro is about to reveal, he gets a heart attack. His body starts to fade away, so he tells Loper that his mom must be back. Hanbit rushes to the front gate while panting and tells his mama that he's occupied with something important. A young boy, alone at home, sweating and panting, taking time to open the door. Anyone would guess that Bro was mid-Jubune, so the only appropriate response for an Asian mom is to beat the shit out of him. But Hanbit points to the B&D equipment, saying that Yui Wo gave these to him as a gift, so he is simply testing out the VR game. Even Mama Hanbit is aware of the popular game, the record thingy, or whatever. She tells him not to play too much, so Hanbit assures her that his internship is starting tomorrow. This game will only be played when he has free time. Mama didn't even know he went through with the internship plan, so the only appropriate response for an Asian mom is to beat the shit of her recap to him. Hanbit tries to act oversmart by blocking one of the slaps, but he's immediately reminded of the hierarchy in this house by a nosebreaker he move. All those fighting in 55 life cycles, but his mama is still the strongest creature he's faced. She wants Hanbit to relax and not overdo himself, but Hanbit wants to get a job as soon as he's done with his next final semester. Since he's going to be joining Songdo Company tomorrow, he'll have to wake up early. She doesn't want him to skip breakfast or anything. She knows he skipped it today as well. Hanbit tries to lie about it, but nothing gets past Mama Hanbit. Back in his room, he remembers he was in the middle of a stream. He thinks about going back, but it's already past 11 p.m., so he decides to go to bed early. Meanwhile, Loper is being bullied by chat with questions about Hanbit and the new unique quests. Meanwhile, a post on the forum is trending. The post that talks about Black Dragon's hidden quest discovery. Even the screenshot of that epic fireball spellbook has been posted. However, most of the viewers think of it as nothing but a fabricated publicity stunt. Even this employee at the RP dedicated department in a small game workshop named Jae-ha Kim doesn't think much of it. He gets to see such marketing stunts from streamers every day. His suspicion is further solidified by Hanbit's elite naming sense. Who would trust any information coming from Black Dragon? Since he has time in hand, he'll check the authenticity of this quest. Meanwhile, Loper is getting cyber-jumped by all his viewers. They suspect Black Dragon to be a middle schooler to log out because his mama is back. While he's justifying, he notices the viewer count rising as quickly as the crime rate in the neighborhood after Jamal moved in. He then sees the post about them on the forum. Loper is wishing for Hanbit's earliest return until he gets a message saying he gotta sleep to wake up on time for his first day of internship tomorrow. Hanbit realizes what kind of situation Loper must be in, so he leaves a gift. A message for the viewers that the cure for Atsubel's quest can be obtained from bomb slimes. He'll share more if anyone manages to clear it before him. The next morning, Kang Hambit arrives at his office, a little too dressed to be the errand boy / punching bag internee. The office is in a state of chaos. All the employees are perfectly executing their do-nothing look busy act. That's when one of the guys notices Hambit and asks Minho to take him to the conference room. This is Minho, the guy who spends many sleepless nights so the manager could be a premium of client in his comfy gooning chamber. As Hanbit is clearing the whiteboard in the conference room, another guy who's perfectly executing the role of someone who has to pull an all-nighter, hence holding this coffee, enters the room. Of course, he's a team leader. Minho reveals that Hanbit is the new intern he mentioned a couple of days ago. Hanbit bows down and promises to work hard. Team lead tells him that he only needs to do what he's told. He's then told to leave the room so the team lead can pretend to have a productive conversation while dumping all the work onto Minho. Hanbit can clearly see just how bright this company's future is. He still believes that it's better than the hell he went through because of that nonchalant baddie. Back in the game, Hanbit apologizes to Loper for not seeing his messages sooner. Loper is far from angry. Like a good golden retriever, he's all jolly and sparkly. Turns out he's happy because the viewer count of their stream has gone over 5,000. They are now going to start Atsubel's quest. Hanbit asks if anyone managed to succeed after the hints he dropped last night. Turns out no one did. Some even think that Hanbit tricked them, but Dude states that their skill issue is not his fault. Here, of course, he's going to show them his levels now. They head straight to the wall's main gate. Slopper suspects Hanbit to be a veteran, and not a newbie, but he simply brushes off his concern by saying that it's the fantasy novels. Anything should be possible in a game with this much freedom. By anything, he does not mean that you can create an island in here. As they arrive at the gate, they see lots of jobless gamers already present there. The people who had enough time to read the post on the forum and pay a visit to check the authenticity themselves. Even the Vanguard is here. For now, all we know is that Vanguard has 4 guys. Let's ignore them and one beautiful lady. Let's not ignore her. Loper whispers to Hanbit that the new quest he discovered might have spread farther than they expected. Hanbit finally asks what this Vanguard she is. Turns out the top 10,000 players are called the Vanguard. The rankings are determined by levels, proficiency, and story progression. Out of 300 million players, only the top 10,000 are ranked. 500 of them are in Korea, which means there are at least 450 people named Kim in those 10,000. Even among those ranked players, most skip magic to focus on growth. Hanbit then sees this Vanguard guy carrying the Golden Bird bow, a weapon made by a very skillful craftsman. Even these ranked players couldn't clear the Pulsable quest. Also, most of the ranked players belong to corporations. Yup, there are corporations backing their players to clear RP. Even if they don't own the game, it still generates enough money to miss out on this opportunity. Just then, a girl approaches Hanbit and asks if he's the mighty cornball named Black Dragon. She's waiting for him to clear the quest and show them how it's done. The guy with the rooster hairstyle acts all cocky and tells the girl that he knew Black Dragon was lying. The girl, on the other hand, wants him to have patience until Hanbit gives it a try. Cock is right to be skeptical because the last time he trusted this woman, they were robbed so bad that they were left with just the undies. While Mr. Cock barbarically gets his hair pulled by the evil lady, Hanbit and Loper head towards the sea. Loper wonders why they are going in the opposite direction from the bomb slimes, so Hanbit reveals that they need a fishing rod first. Chad is wondering what the fishing rod has to do with bomb slimes. Thankfully, Loper isn't confused because of a lack of brain. All he cares about is that Cuckoo just donated 1,001. Meanwhile, Hanbit is all smug because of how clueless everyone is right now. Even when Loper asks about it, Hanbit acts all mysterious. Now Loper is worried. If this turns out to be a prank, he will have to shut down the stream. Chad is also bullying poor Loper for whatever Hanbit is trying to pull off here because Loper is more bullyable. Hanbit assures him that he's not lying. They need a fishing rod for this quest, so he asks Loper if he would lend him 70,000 gold. Okay, now everyone is doubting this money grubber, from Hyung Hanbit to Juing Hanbit. Not like Loper has any other option, so he lends Hanbit the money. There are more people here now, and Hanbit could see the tension on Loper's face after losing 70k. They finally arrive at the place Eldrock fishes, an NPC who can't hear well. Hanbit approaches him and asks to buy his fishing rod right away. The shrewd Unt pretends not to hear until Hanbit offers 50k. All of a sudden, Unt locks in. He demands 100k, but Hanbit claims to only have 60k. Unt refuses, so Hanbit starts lowering the cost even more. After hearing a bit curse words and abuse from the old man, Hanbit succeeds in scamming the old man for 60k. Having an Asian audience means the chat has already calculated the difference. Borrowed 70, spent 60. Black Dragon successfully extorted 10k from Loper. With that fishing rod, they arrive at the forest to catch some bomb slimes. Meanwhile, Loper states that streaming suits Hanbit and he can become an amazing host. If that's too difficult, he can roleplay as some character. RP inside RP was not on the chat's bucket list. Back to these bomb slimes, they are extremely sensitive. Even a little finger insertion will cause an explosion and spread the fluid. Timeout. That didn't come out right. So the bomb slimes explode if they are touched by anything. Let it be a rock or your uncle when nobody's home. It's not like they drop anything after an explosion, so the chat calls them GOAT. Greatest of all trash. Hanbit finally finds a slime at a perfect height difference. He adjusts the fishing rod sensitivity a bit. Just as he is about to begin, Loper reveals that there are people following them. Thanks to Mr. 000 for keeping an eye on their back, even Hanbit noticed several groups following them all the way from the city. He asks Loper for the screen settings so he can adjust them for a bit to deal with this mess. He apologizes to the chat for briefly turning off his screen so he can do some over 18 stuff with his stalkers. Loper has always loved fantasy stories. Unfortunately, no one in the military shared this hobby with him. If only he were into BL. He would simply pass time reading the same book over and over again until a new recruit joined the unit. This recruit was also into fantasy novels. He had already read Loper's favorite novel, and to his surprise, that recruit pointed out details that even Loper missed. Time went by and Loper graduated and got busy with his life. One day, he saw a poster of RP and immediately thought of Hanbit. That's the guy he want to play this game with. Right now, only Loper is sharing his screen while Hanbit pretends to catch some slimes in the background. Loper intentionally blocks the view of what Hanbit is doing. With the new quest popping up, it's obvious that people will follow them to observe. Among those observers, someone is bound to get impatient and jump the gun, now that they can't see Hanbit's screen. Time for some action. The reason Hanbit bought this hook is that bomb slimes don't react to its sharp tip. Moreover, he can deploy spikes from its tip with the press of the button. This allows him to control the timing of the explosion. Now then, Hanbit starts throwing those slimes at these impatient nobodies. The stream snipers are now dealt with, so he goes right back to his initial mission. Right away, he notices a slime of a different color. That's the one Hanbit was searching for, the one he wanted to catch. What better way to discriminate than with color, is what Hanbit says. He catches the slime and puts it in his bag. Chad is confused. Why didn't the slime explode after coming in contact with the bag? Turns out, if the entire pack of bomb slimes is wiped out, there's a high probability of one of the remaining ones turning into dud slimes. Dud slimes are like Cristiano Ronaldo. They have lost their explosiveness for natural reasons. Just like he can still be useful as a role model for future strikers, dud slimes can be useful to bag at Tublo. Loper is worried about sharing too much, but Hanbit knows that it's not that simple. Just because you know where the red light district is does not mean you're going to lose your virginity. There's still the massive ED problem. Meanwhile, this guy Kim Jae-ha from that gold farm company has barely avoided being Middle Easted by Hanbit. At least the purpose he set out for is fulfilled. He's now sure that Hanbit is no ordinary player. He thinks that Hanbit is backed by a massive corporation, one he can never compete with. Still, Jae-han is confused as to why the Black Dragon hangs out with a small-time streamer. Maybe this attention-seeking happy dog is there to distract everyone from Hanbit. For now, he decides to focus on clearing this Otsubel quest so he can meet the quota for this month. As you would expect from a hard-working corporate slave, Jae-han did not succeed. Back at Otsubel's shop, she sees the medicine and gives the exact same response as the delivery doctor when Yui Uglial was born. Without a doubt, this medicine's quality and aroma are on par with Indian street food. This has to be as disgusting as our reincarnated as a toilet video. Otsubel sighs in disappointment and turns back to compensate Hanbit with money for dealing with Julio. This medicine thingy is just not for him. Hanbit asks if she can actually afford to miss out on this opportunity. The rage bait works perfectly, as Otsubel is about to turn our Black Dragon into Black Doggy. Using this opportunity, Hanbit shoves his disgusting thing into Otsubel's mouth and makes her swallow the contents. Of course, we're talking about the medicine. Loper is sweating crazily, as he didn't expect his friend to be a husband from the 1950s. Otsubel had to run to the washroom right away to throw up. After a few minutes, she's back, and now Hanbit is going to be the one throwing up blood. It doesn't seem like he cares, partly because Otsubel will be cured now and partly because he's into this stuff. He asks if a seed-like thing came out because that was the cause of her illness. Otsubel is confused. Hanbit claims that the seed she just threw up was the root cause of her illness. He then reveals that he knows Otsubel has been sick as well. Keeping it a secret, she has been suffering in silence this whole time. She didn't want her mom to worry or Julio to use this information to seize Otsubel's shop, claiming that it was promised to him 3,000 years ago. The parasitic seed she swallowed grows in the far south region. She must have caught it from the ingredients imported from that region. As it happens, bomb slime is the only thing that can detach it from the stomach lining. Without the explosive ability, the slime is just mucus and a toxin that triggers vomiting. It wasn't an illness to begin with, just a rare infection. He then hands over the disgusting plate with disgusting medicine to cure Mama Otsubel from the disgusting seed. Despite this being just a game, Hanbit notices that Otsubel hasn't changed a bit, a silly, pure-hearted girl who always puts others above her. Despite having a bad temper, she would always protect him. From the bottom of his heart, Hanbit wishes Otsubel to find the happiness she deserves. The cutscene starts playing where Otsubel feeds her mom the medicine, and after throwing up, she's cured. She's now healthy enough to give Otsubel a sibling. Otsubel has tears of joy in her eyes. Her smile has blown away the entire chat. One of them claims Otsubel to be his wife from now on. It's always the 2 inchers shooting for the moon. She thanks Hanbit, and as a token of her gratitude, she hands him the spellbook he was looking for. The happy dog is even happier to see his bro pull such a thick baddie. Sorry, book. Dolberg, just as they are about to leave, Otsubel stops them to give more rewards. She hands him a bag full of coins. Loper can't believe the generosity of this beautiful angel. The system window pops up to give rewards for clearing the first quest. The payout is doubled, 2 bonus stat points are allotted, and 200 experience points are given. Hanbit's level increases by 5, so 5 more stat points. Even Atsubal's Fireball spellbook is upgraded from heroic to unique. Hanbit is surprised to receive so many rewards. Dude's only motivation was bringing a smile on Atsubal's face. He's low-key concerned regarding the phrase first clear. He's worried that the game is fixed for him. Ladies and gentlemen, we have a protagonist aware of plot armor. In his case, the plot armor simply means being a dog to that nonchalant baddie. There's nothing to worry about because first clear appears for everyone. Loper can't believe Hanbit just acquired a unique spellbook in the first quest. He wants Hanbit to share a few words of wisdom with the viewers like Master Oogway, when he said, "If she says no to her mother, shall you go?" Meanwhile, the chat is going crazy like a Scot when deprived of beer for 50 seconds. Loper can't even read the messages. That's how fast they are spamming. Atsubal hands a paper to him as well, a letter of introduction to the blacksmith. This can get Hanbit a weapon of his choice. She noticed how this cheeky and Kiki duo isn't carrying any weapon, plus their equipment is all ruined from the bomb slime expedition. Hanbit clarifies that this disgusting smell on them is from the slimes and not themselves. The same disgusting smelling thing that he shoved into Atsubal's mouth. With a beautiful smile on her face, she sees them off. Now then, the dumb duo looks for another quest to do. RP is an open world so they can go wherever they want to. They'll still need to be cautious not to carelessly get trapped in a high-level area. Talking about freedom, RP gives a whole lot of options to customize the avatar as well. Loper finally remembers to ask Hanbit why he chose to look exactly like his real life. Hanbit can't reveal the goddess prank, so he uses the ultimate trump card against dumb people. He stays silent. Loper steers the conversation away to the freedom of choosing the gender. Those who have been to Thailand will be safe, others shall remain cautious. Sometimes the cake might come with a candle. While the yapper dog continues, Hanbit thinks about the next destination. Just then, a notification sound grasps Hanbit's attention. A beautiful sound, a sound of money, because Mr. Respect Test Days just donated 50k to see more Atsubal. The entire chat supports the rich simpit. Donations start raining down on them. Even the view count has risen to over 8,000. They have received 500,000 won just by clearing one quest. Hanbit is dazzled. But what's more dazzling is this Binati shaking his thing for the viewers. Hanbit can see big money now. He can finally repay his mother if money keeps pouring down like this. It still hurts him. The future that never happened. The goddess did the same thing to him as the Witch of Greed did to Subaru. Behold, an unthinkable present. A missing poster with Hanbit's picture and information. His mother gave up her life to find him. It's as if he was her life. From now on, he's gonna make her happy. Loper tells Hanbit that the chat is desperately waiting for him to use the spellbook. Hanbit uses the book and it transforms into this system window about the unique grade Fireball skill. At this point, Hanbit feels as if he's cheating his way through the game, given how long it took him to obtain this skill in those cycles. Loper jumps in to relate the funny experience of the spell loading inside the brain. Hanbit initially feels nothing until finally a fireball bursts out of his fist, a spell powerful enough to barbecue his enemies. It turned out much better than Hanbit expected it to be. Just then, 2 lethal eyes appear in front of him. He remembers these nonchalant eyes, the eyes that belong to beautiful outside, ugly inside goddess. Hanbit earns the title, Recorder of 55 times. He sees a big hand, goddess's hand, extending towards him as if she's trying to cage him once again. In this moment, Hanbit felt what true fear is. It's as if he finally qualified for the World Cup and his first opponent is Messi. With this title, he'll now gain EXP points as fast as a virgin's first time. He also unlocks something that has a keyword called Spirit. Hanbit trembles as that piece of fine cake isn't letting him enjoy his life in peace. This title has just confirmed his theory of the goddess still watching him like Mark Zuckerberg when you like those GRWM videos. Loper is a bit worried for Hanbit, but since they won't understand even if he shares, Hanbit decides to stay silent. He covers it up by saying that casting a spell for the first time took a toll on him. He wants to compare this unique level skill to a normal skill, so he asks Loper to show what the degenerates beneath his spell status can do. Loper hesitates at first but finally shows the fireball spell that can hardly light up a cigarette. Even a firefly has more fire up its butt. Hanbit tries to console him that his normal grade skill is useful and impressive as well. Rather than feeling down, Loper should focus on how many asthma-patient, polio-infected ant babies he can slime with such mighty power. Loper explains that magic is just too grindy. Hanbit is now coming off as that gifted noble in high school anime who doesn't have to struggle for anything. Hanbit thinks that grade is not the only notable thing here. Proficiency has to be equally, if not more important. The edgelord then explains to Loper the fundamentals of casting a magic spell. It's not something you click, but a mathematical equation that you solve. In that equation, one must calculate incantations and mana management. Loper's brain has already shut down after hearing maths. Hanbit doesn't plan to make magic his main skill right now, since the biggest plus point is its convenience. While Hanbit is acting like a wisdom merchant, Loper reminds him that it hasn't been 48 hours since he joined the game. His words right now are just as impactful as Loper's fireball skill. Chat seems to give our boy appropriate treatment. They want to watch him play, not yap. They think that Black Dragon has been conquered by ego. He thinks he's in Blue Lock or something. Hanbit crashes out at these unemployed viewers, mocking him for being so wisdomous, if there's a word like that. Hanbit breaks up with chat, saying that he won't reveal any more quest information. The only thing they'll get from Black Dragon now is the Black D Lightspender donates 77,777 yen, and suddenly, the angry heads bow down to their daddy. It's not like Hanbit is swallowing his anger for money. He genuinely feels no animosity now that the money is pouring. He's then asked about his next destination, so Hanbit reveals that he does have a place in mind. Hanbit arrives at this strange hut. Loper expected him to continue the main story, but his main priority right now is getting more skills. They enter the cut only to find a jack dude with more bruises on his arm than an emo love-struck girl. The owner of this place, which is a little too creepy for our happy dog, is the archery NPC hunter Leichner. Hanbit reveals his intention to learn archery. Leichner tries to overwhelm Hanbit by asking him if he has the grit for it. Leichner's muscles are big, but not as big as the confidence of our edgelord. The quest appears to obtain a passing score from Leichner for an archery training manual and 500 gold. They are out in the open. Hanbit needs to score 200 points in 30 attempts. The center point is worth 10 points. Loper wants him to add some stat points into agility before beginning the test. But if there's anything big about our guy, it's his confidence. Hanbit shoots his first shot and misses like that one guy commenting "hi lol" under every pretty girl's posts. Still, bro might have missed this shot, but he's not going to lose this game. He channels his inner whoever is LeBron James of archery, and finally hits the board. Unfortunately, it's not very close to the G spot. G for grand. Loper is surprised as his mouth is wide open, anticipating what's about to come. He wants more. The next shot is right into the center, followed by another one in the center. The remaining 26 attempts were all into the main spot. Hanbit passes the test with a whopping 287 points. Achieving this many points with just an RP level 2 gear turns out to be just as impossible as One Piece fans not review bombing peak shows, just because their favorite show is mid. Just then, the scene shifts to another baddie with a handful of coins. She's bored with all this pickpocketing. She wants a challenging opponent. The baddie with Mikasa's scarf then sees two idiots walking into this shady valley, begging to be robbed. Loper is extremely happy to be holding the rewards. Even Hanbit thinks that Loper is a bit too excited for his age. Turns out, Loper is just too happy to find out about Hanbit's archery skills. He's no time traveler, but he can see their future now. The future filled with money and fame and lots of bitchless fellows. No one thought Hanbit would be good with his stick. Arrow, stick, and bow. No one except Loper, though, who gambled on this chance and won a lot. Their next destination is Mr. Sword Sensei, who'll teach Hanbit swordsmanship. However, he needs swiftness skill before that. He already knows where to bag that, whereas Loper has no clue why he needs the swift skill. Hanbit is impossible to read. Unlike this other friend who wished for time-stopping power combined with untraceable DNA to tell everyone just what kind of person he is. Finally, the two idiots arrive in the alley in front of Ria the baddie. The reason most people avoid swiftness skill is that Ria's quest is as difficult as maintaining eye contact with her. Hanbit walks up to her and reveals his intention to learn the swift skill. Ria appreciates the honesty. Ria appreciates the straightforwardness. Ria appreciates the bravery, but what Ria appreciates the most is that bag full of gold coins. That being said, Ria steals the bag in a swift motion and considers it a teaching fee. To her surprise, Hanbit isn't bothered by losing the gold stash. He just wants to learn from the best. Or deep down, bro was already squeezed dry by her many times. Squeezed in terms of money, of course. What's up with you guys' brains? In those 55 cycles, Hanbit lost more money to her than those part-time students investing in crypto, after learning a few graphs like rising wedge, peeing dog, a horse's 5 legs, or whatever the bizarre names are. Ria confesses her feelings to Hanbit about how, from the moment she laid her eyes on him, she doesn't like him. And she begins the first lesson, and their first task is to catch her. A quest appears telling him to find Ria within the time limit to acquire the swiftness skill book. Hanbit already knows through Loper's expressions and chat's comments that Ria is impossible to catch now. The only way to complete it is by losing 25 grand and attempting to catch her 5 times. Each time there's a 3-hour timer. That's 15 hours of nothing to do because Ria can't be caught and they can't take on other quests or log out. In that case, the timer resets. With the luxury of 0 brain cells, Hanbit concludes that the only option available to them is catching Ria. Hanbit knows they can't catch her, but he knows just the right person for this job. He arrives at Mami Atsubel's store. Turns out Ria and Atsubel are sisters. No one knew about this, but Hanbit lied that it's common knowledge among the streets that Atsubel's father had been shooting gold. For after lying to her and convincing her, Hanbit proceeds to lie to Loper, claiming that he saw some graffiti that gave the hint. Chad even goes back into the stream to see if he's telling the truth. But Hanbit clarifies that eyes filled with lust shall not find the truth. He doubles down on his unemployed fans, saying that they would have seen the hint if they didn't send an angel like Atsubel to prison. He then follows Atsubel as they head out to find Ria. Meanwhile, that baddie is playing recklessly with a cat. Of course, a cat who doesn't give a shit about anyone as long as human slaves keep presenting it with food. Rhea thinks that the two idiots must have given up searching for her by now. Even if they haven't, they would never find this place. Just then, Atsubel enters the scene, with her big sis as the big idiot who was robbed by her. Rhea is panicking now as she reminds Hanbit of how immoral and cheap it is to bring her sister into this small pickpocketing matter. He reveals that he happens to have some history with her sister. Rhea may be swift, but no skill in this world can save a younger sibling from the wrath of their master, aka elder sibling. Rhea receives a strong lecture on how she should never pickpocket and steal like that Julio guy. What's the difference between them if this keeps going on? Atsubel gives her one last chance to give up the life of crime. With her gone, Atsubel brings out the Swift spellbook and honors her promise, despite not liking Hanbit's approach to clear the quest. Once again, this book also turns out to be a unique gradebook. She then leaves and the Goldie dog finally catches up. He's exhausted right now, but Hanbit doesn't care about that. He's not going to miss out on the opportunity to brag about this unique gradebook he just got by his lowly tactics. Now then, it's time to learn some swordsmanship. Hanbit still hasn't gotten used to this consumable book thingy. Loper then tells Hanbit that the viewers are curious as to why Hanbit learned this haste or swift skill. Hanbit thinks that it should be obvious, like if the two idiots were in a race of who's the bigger idiot, Hanbit could use haste skill to win and outrun both Loper and intelligence. Loper is just happy that even with a unique grade skill, he was only beaten by 0.101 seconds. That means intelligence chases Loper as well, but he's too fast. Also, this is finally Loper's time to shine because he's Hanbit's senior in swordsmanship. Finally, a quest that even a dog can clear. Rank 2 swordsman with high grade Mr. Loper the LARPer, part-time streamer and full-time bitch of his chat. While Loper argues with chat for never having his back, Hanbit thinks about how most players, including Yan Wu, are following a similar progression path. He thinks that it's because of that guidebook, the same guidebook that had zero information about Atsupel's quest. Instead, it would just allow Atsupel to get captured and never to be seen again. Afterwards, Rhea would hole herself in the house so no one bothered to find her. There still are many people playing this game in their own way, but this level of freedom makes it impossible to determine the right path. Hanbit being the first one to clear Atsubel's quest could be a hint towards him being on the right path. Hint or not, Hanbit has decided that he would clear RP his own way. He doesn't know what that goddess is thinking, but one thing is for sure, he's done being her puppet. Some people might even pay to be her puppet, to be ridiculed by her, not Hanbit. He's done being the bottom. As our idio duo is walking towards the sword sensei, Hanbit wonders why that man is this far away. Loper reveals that it's because his concept is a hermit swordsman. They finally arrive at their destination, only to find this overwhelming NPC with a menacing aura as if he's Ross and someone at work ate his last moistmaker sandwich. Loper doesn't want to get clapped on a live stream, so he maintains a safe distance. Swordsman Balder, with no signs of balding, walks forward and asks Hanbit to swing the wooden sword until he tells him to stop. If sword skills are what Hanbit desires, he shall ask with his sword. No words needed. No need to use his mouth other than to moisten the balls of his seniors at his new internship. This quest is divided into 2 stages. Stage 1 is swinging, whereas Stage 2 is a duel. Loper asks chat how long it took them to clear this quest. Turns out, most of them took over 2 hours. Most remain cautious against Balder because apparently, a clip went viral where Balder treated an arrogant player like a life-size anime girl pillow from Temu. Despite only going once, Balder checked all the requirements for the return policy. To avoid being roughed up like that, everyone remains very cautious. They didn't expect an NPC to slime a real player. Turns out the era of AI robots taking over the world is not too far. Now everyone is curious how long it would take Black Dragon to clear it. So far, the record time is 28 minutes. We even very successful entrepreneurs sometimes miss out on a golden opportunity. But there are some extremely disciplined and professional people who never ever let an opportunity slip by. That talented group is known as gamblers. Sword God registers a mission of 200k donation if Hanbit does it under 25 minutes. Loper has to do cliff diving live on stream if he fails. Kitchen Knife adds 20k. Swordmaster adds another 70k. The prize pool keeps increasing like the body count of a girl saying, "I want to live my college life to the fullest," until it reaches 800k. Hanbit is not too happy about everything turning into a bet in this stream. But hey, a man's gotta earn. Hanbit already knows that the most important thing about swinging the wooden sword isn't the count or the time. Balder in the first place never expected a beginner to have high ability. Most players in the game have the mindset of sword is the easiest to use. All these Kirito fanboys think holding the sword is as easy as holding a dive. To someone like Balder who spent his entire life with the sword, such a line of thinking is an immense disrespect. What he looks for in Phase 1 is a sincere attitude towards the sword, knowing that Hanbit holds the sword in a careful and respectful way while having eyes full of determination. His analysis proves to be on point as Balder stops him right away, saying that it's enough. Without even swinging the sword, Hanbit has cleared Phase 1 of this quest. Phase 2 of this quest is unlocked as the system window pops up, telling Hanbit to defeat Balder in a duel. Philippine gamblers just lost a massive amount of money. However, 99% of gamblers quit before making it big. One requires utmost dedication and consistency to succeed in this field of work. Hence, Swordmaster donates another 10k and doubles down on his bet. Hambit has to block the wooden sword twice, otherwise the mission is void. He adds another 100k, saying that if Hambit blocks it 4 times, he'll double the prize. But if they lose, Hambit and Loper have to go bungee jumping in real life. The difficulty of this quest depends on the player's level, so this may not be easy for Hambit. Meanwhile, Loper is not liking this gambling thingy. Bro got nothing to win and everything to lose. His only fault is being the one who brought the Black Dragon here. Loper wants to be out of this bet, saying that he's afraid of heights. However, Mr. Black Dragon stops him. With a greedy and shady look in his eyes, he assures Loper that they won't have to go bungee jumping. It's hard for Loper to believe him when he can see how much the money has corrupted his innocent friend. With everything to lose, Loper decides to trust his friend. That's because he believes in Hambit. He knows Hambit would never let him down. He values his friendship with Hambit. That's the only reason he agreed to join the bet. His decision has nothing to do with $1,000,000 added to the mission by Swordmaster. The prize pool is now 1.8 million won. With the delightful motivation of money, Hambit steps onto the battleground to make him some money. Balder charges straight at Hambit and almost sends him flying. It's Hambit's first attempt, but Loper and chat are more shocked than him. They never saw Balder attacking someone this fiercely. This must be what the system meant by difficulty adjusted according to player. Somehow, with his willpower and the power of friendship and nothing to do with 1.8 million, Hambit blocks that attack. Balder goes again, and so does Hambit, as the swords clash fiercely with each other. Unlike those 55 cycles, Hambit could feel the dulled sense of movement. That was real life. This is just a game. Thankfully, he learned haste to make up for it. Balder, who hadn't used words until now, finally speaks up. He notices Hambit being consumed by his thoughts, so he asks if it's because he finds this situation unexpected or he's just trying hard to maintain composure. Little does Balder know, he's up against the biggest edgelord of this game. Hambit tries to rage bait Balder, and despite acting nonchalant, gets triggered a bit too easily. Hambit keeps on provoking him until he faces the consequences of forking around. Bro just escaped death by a hair's breadth. That aside, chat wonders why Balder is going so hard on him, as if Hambit just asked Balder's daughter out. It was all according to Hambit's plan. He's making feel anxious, not just by verbal attacks but also with how he's holding out much better than expected. Then goes for a piercing attack, but knowing what's about to come, Hambit blocks it with the flat side of his wooden sword. Whatever he's saying to provoke Balder doesn't mean much when in reality, he's barely keeping up with his attacks. Finally, the stage is set. The plan is executed. Hambit smiles as he sees Balder charging up a grand finale attack. Hambit blocked the 3 attacks with no intention of countering, but this time he matches the attack in a severe clash of swords. As a result, his sword breaks down, but who cares because blocking the attack 4 times is done. Oil up miss 1.8 mil cause Hambit is coming. Hambit is lying on the ground in peace while chat is arguing why Balder isn't finishing him off. Little do they know, Hambit orchestrated this situation. He knew the duel ends once the sword breaks, so he was only holding out until he lasts 4 attacks. He then asks Loper about the mission reward. Loper states that he'll calculate everything and settle the payment once the stream is over. Hambit can't help but hide his insecure feelings about Loper actually paying him. Loper assures him that he has nothing to worry about. But far from that, they only met in the military. Suddenly, Loper is a curious dog to know what Hambit has been doing before he joined the military. It's as if he went to another world and trained for 55 life cycles. Hambit can't reveal that, so he answers like a normal student. Just studying, playing, gooning, and stuff. It's already late for clarifications because chat is already guessing Hambit's old job. Some think he was a chef since he's cooking so well ever since he joined the game. Some think he was a samurai with these sword skills. Some think he used to be a hitman. Or, one of the viewers asks if all the mission money goes to Black Dragon. Before Hambit replies, Loper reveals that this 1.8 million is definitely all his. Hambit reminds him of their 50-50 agreement, but Loper thinks that he contributed nothing in this. In fact, Hambit won it with his own physical abilities, so it's only fair for him to keep the rewards. Hambit is glad that he doesn't have to do bungee jumping now. At this point, chat finally realizes why we have been calling him an idiot. The fallen warrior Swordmaster donates another 100k because he wants to go out in style. With tears evidently showing in the donation money, he claims to only be donating so he could see more of Black Dragon's sword skills. Now that the fight is over, Balder is standing by the tree in an aesthetic pose. Hambit could tell how angry that guy is. Despite being quiet, he's looking just like a bomb slime. Balder must be blaming himself for having his moves read by a rookie. Not just a rookie, an idiot rookie who calls himself Black Dragon. He approaches Balder, reminding him that the quest finished. Balder asks him to wait here while he walks off, frustratingly to bring Hambit the rewards. Loper Hambit feels bad for him, but it's not like Balder can do anything about it. Although the next person to show up might get some rough time. With this swordsmanship skill book, Hambit now owns 4 skills. The quest completion window pops up, and well, Hambit gets the max possible rewards of 3,000 gold, a unique rank skill book, and 5 stat points. Perks of being the goddess's bitch. 4 uniques in a row is like meeting 4 non-cringy classroom of elite fans in a row. Impossible, right? Let's move on before someone starts feeling the sigma flowing inside of him. Arrogant Sword donates 10k for some private tutoring. Others are lining up after him to learn from the best. Hambit doesn't want to deal with this right now, so he distracts chat with a cute puppy. Loper Pup offers himself as their sensei, but settling for him instead of Hambit is like a priest settling for an adult. Hambit approaches Balder and says that there should be something else left for him to give. Balder only wants to give this edgelord a solid beating right now, but being an NPC, he has duties to fulfill. He reveals that his master has recently moved his residence to Edlin. He hands Hambit a napkin that he moistened last night and tells him to show it to his master. Turns out it's a piece of cloth with a sword emblem. With this, his master will at least hear out Hambit. He hints that his master will be where the winds gather. Hambit then tells Loper to end the reaction session and walk to the city with him. Once again, other players try to follow Hambit's footsteps and challenge Balder again in hopes of getting that unique spellbook. Little do they know, this Dumbo edged unto the point of crashing out. Loper asks if Balder's master is their next destination, but Hambit reveals that the next destination is his room. He has to go to work tomorrow, so he needs some sleep to be in top shape for corporate slavery. They'll meet again at the same time tomorrow. Loper wants him to join a bit earlier, but Hambit refuses and logs out. All that gaming made him sweaty, so Hambit decides to take a shower before heading to bed. Just then, he receives a message from Loper saying that he's about to sleep, so he wants to settle the payment before that. Hambit receives a notification from his bank saying that 3 million won has been debited from his account. Now his balance is 3.1 million from the original massive 4.1 million won. Hambit freezes as if he just saw GTA 6 actually getting released. With just a 10-hour workday, he was able to earn this much. Imagine how much he'll earn if he puts in more hours and removes some clothing. He doesn't need to work that lame job anymore with this much earning. Doubt, however, he finally returned to the desired reality. It's not like he wants to live this overworked, underpaid, and fertile corporate slave life, but he's still not ready to fully immerse himself in that world. He would rather keep playing as a hobby, although he's a bit worried about Yeonwoo or Loper, who has been looking after him in so many ways. Deep down, Hambit wants the donations to explode like a bomb slime, but getting a proper job is one of the top 3 desires of an Asian mom. Loper, well, it's not like he's refusing to accept this money just because it's coming from a world that traumatized him. The next morning, Hambit is woken up by his mom with another one of the top 3 desires of an Asian mom: yelling at your children. First of all, Hambit is already late to wake up. Secondly, she inquires about the money he sent her. Turns out, Hambit sent the entire 3 million won to his mama's account. Hakimi must be proud of him. Never keep anything under your name, or else the beaches would steal it. She knows Hambit has been doing something late at night, and now he's suddenly late. Her concerns are valid. Hambit fails to reply in 0.0000001 seconds, so the interrogation moves on to the next phase. Mama is now beating the USMNT out of Hambit. Sorry, I misspelled she. Hambit clarifies that the money is legit and he didn't commit a crime or provide raunchy services to earn this. That only leaves one option behind. Mama knows ball. She thinks Hambit has finally become a successful gambler. Hambit clarifies that she couldn't be more wrong. He then reminds her of the guy he told her about, the one with a life is all sunshine and rainbows face. He gave him a gift to play the game together. They were streaming the game and those unemployed fellas turned out to be really stacked. He assures her that he would never do anything illegal, other than not watching anime on Crunchyroll because that's a moral issue. Mama heads out saying that they will talk about it once she's back from work. Hambit thinks that his mother doesn't trust him, but she clarifies that she believes in him, and she knows he would never resort to something illegal, but she's worried that he might be pushing himself a little too much. She leaves the room and Hambit whispers to her that this is nothing. He would never let her carry the debt alone. He'll do his very best, or even more, so his mom can finally relax a bit. She deserves that. She has done enough already. Also, Mama seems to be underestimating our protagonist. He literally lived through 55 regressions, possessions, and reincarnations in another world. Each time he had to fight his way up from nothing while being deprived of the sweet eternal rest that one dreams about after giving his all. A little corporate slavery and streaming is nothing compared to that. That's what Hambit thought, at least. But bro forgot he's Gen Z, who isn't built for the toxic corporate culture. What do you mean you can't complete 10 days worth of work in 1 hour? These soft Gen Z people can't even deprive themselves of sleep, health, food, family, and friends to work 23 hours a day for minimal wage? Do these Gen Z people not realize how tough it is for their CEO to not go on a vacation every 2 weeks? Where's the sense of responsibility? Hambit is getting scolded by this boomer for no reason at all. Maybe he found out that the girl he wanted to leave his wife for turned out to be an AI account. Someone's reality, by the way. This other guy with zero spark left in his eyes, indicating his long experience in corporate life, hands Hambit today's job. Everything was neatly organized and compiled in a way that even Downies would understand it. Of course, this boomer didn't get it, hence the insulting session. He then throws his card on the table and orders Hambit to bring a coffee for him. However, Hambit asks what kind of coffee he wants. This makes the team lead even angrier because Lee Minho was supposed to teach this new internee in the orientation that everyone here drinks iced Americanos. If Hambit protests, Lee Minho, the only guy nice to him here, will be on the receiving end. As Hambit heads out, his steps feel heavy. By the time he returns, the boomer is now yelling at Lee Minho, who's standing there accepting it all like he's used to this dog barking every day. Then finally, Minho speaks up and tells this foul-mouthed unch that the task he's assigning won't be possible with his current workload. This pink-shirted piece of egested waste throws the papers at Minho, saying that it's not in his power to choose the tasks he's assigned. Hambit jumps in with a coffee while trying to put this bizarre insult session to an end. While he picks up the pages with Minho, he notices the team leader glaring at him as he saw through his attempt to save Minho. They turn to their seats and Hambit notices Minho's exhaustion. Those are the eyes of someone who's bound to appear in the news soon as someone who couldn't handle pressure. He apologizes to Hambit for showing this ugly side of corporate life. Hambit says that it's nothing. Maybe the team lead is angry because he found the guy he wanted to sleep with in bed with his wife. That's not the only reason he's apologizing. That result of an expired condom assigned Minho a task that will consume way too much of his time. Therefore, he won't be able to look after Hambit from now on. While picking up the documents, Hambit noticed that the project is about RP. Minho knows that he would need to play himself to understand the mechanisms behind it. Hambit volunteers to help him with this one. Later that day, Hambit meets up with Loper. This condition of being unemployed could only mean two things. Either he's a gamer or a gooner. In Loper's case, it's the former. They head to a nearby cafe where Loper gets to know what the J-word does to an innocent guy. Hambit thinks that if he retires and spends the rest of his life cursing the team lead, it would still not be enough for that unseelie up his hakenar. He then asks Loper why he called him out here. So Loper reveals the messages he received from the companies asking them to join. Even a big company like Yahello Gaming offered a job with a whopping 100 million salary per year. This is the best time to decide the future, so Loper wanted to talk about the companies they should shortlist. However, Hambit may be dumb, but not too dumb to not see the schemes behind Loper's lies. Loper tries to play it cool, but Hambit straight up asks if Loper actually wants him to join a big corporation. Loper still doesn't confess. Knowledge is power, but as Cersei Lannister said, power is power, so Hambit uses physical means of extracting the truth. Turns out Loper knows he's struggling with money, and he would never accept direct help, so he wanted him to at least land a high-paying job. He thinks that the offer of 100 million is excellent. Hambit agrees, but he reminds Loper that he's the one who got him into RP. Therefore, he wants to hear what Loper plans to do. Loper reveals that RP is a little too complex for him, and playing alone was more exhausting than enjoyable for him. He would rather watch Hambit play than play himself. Whereas Hambit, on the other hand, is the one who shines the brightest in RP. He's already enjoying it a lot and wishes to see him unfold this story by his side. He wants to share that amazing experience with everyone. That's why Loper wishes to establish a multi-channel network centered around Hambit, kind of like a guild that combines reality in the game. Hambit knows about this because Loper has always wanted to do this. He even talked about it during their time in the military. Loper is more shocked to find out that Hambit actually remembered what he talked about. For someone with just 100 MB storage in his brain, this is shocking. Back to the serious topic, Loper shares that the recorder they used to broadcast recently got a new feature to upload videos. The ad revenue is also bigger than expected. The best thing is that the Black Dragon is currently the most trending topic on Recorder. Even the platform is pushing their videos to have more people start playing RP. The number of people who would want to join him will also increase. He then asks Hambit what he thinks about this plan. Hambit reminds him that he was just suggesting he find a good company, and now he has taken a whole massive 180 turn. On the bright side, Loper tells him that Hambit won't be just an employee but a co-CEO. He will even have to do individual stream broadcasts without Loper. Seeing the pretty waitress coming, Hambit raises his voice while repeating the co-CEO part. Proctor wants some huzzes. Yeah, Loper is the reason he started playing RP, but deep down he thinks that this might be his last chance to find Orport. Maybe finding Orport will reveal the reason behind his 55 cycles of hell. Just then, Loper's phone rings again, and it's another message from people trying to partner up with Hambit. It's tough being a famous person. Loper seems to understand just how exhausting fame could be. However, it's not some ordinary message. Judging by Loper's panicking expressions, it's either a very big company or his girlfriend's husband. Unfortunately, his call wasn't picked up. Hambit gets a bit curious after seeing this reaction and asks what happened. Loper reminds Hambit of the top-ranked players they saw in Edlin. Hambit remembers the one with the golden bow. Turns out they are affiliated with this big German company called Rashtan. There was new information discovered that the rewards on that Atsibol quest get lower on first-come, first-served basis. Knowing that, they are trying to monopolize this quest to steal away all the better rewards. All of a sudden, the bomb slimes disappeared from their usual spot. A rumor is now spreading that Hambit collaborated with Rashtan to arrange all this. Hambit finally realizes the downside of being a hotshot. Players in RP are cursing Rashtan and Black Dragon, especially this floor-cleaning brushhead guy. His girl mans up and tells her noisy brush to calm down and shut a fuck up. This guy at least got a rare. If he were any later, he would have to settle for a normal spellbook. Miss Beauty with brains thinks that first-come, first-serve rule makes sense because why would the game keep handing out unique grade spellbooks? She made the right call to hurry up and complete the quest because the slimes are nowhere to be found now. This guy is still not shutting up, so the girl has to rely on PK threats. She believes that they should wait and see what happens. Black Dragon must do an explanation broadcast if he saw Reztan's notice. Meanwhile, Hambit is thinking the same. He asks Loper more about this big company. Loper replies that the company's value depends on how strong their players are. The Ranger has a 9,000 power stat, which is a bit low among the rankers, but being a ranker is enough of a big deal. An idea clicks in Hambit's teeny tiny brain. He tells Loper that they should start the stream a bit later today. Later that day, he looks through the RP guide and finds exactly what he was looking for. He logs in and heads straight to the cave that is located exactly where he remembered it, from his free trial of hell. Just as he anticipated, the bomb slimes were gathered up in that cave. There could only be one reason for that, and it's not a 75% sale or something. He finds a level 7 bomb slime king that has an ability to attract other slimes to it and absorb them to grow in size. Still, it's not like he's running a political campaign on social media to attract this many this soon. There's bound to be another reason for it. Hambit looks around and finally sees this monster lure gadget that has Rashton's emblem on it. It's a one-time use item only that can be obtained from a dungeon in the north. They located the Bomb Slime King and placed this item above him to boost the attracting trait of that king to cause this mess. Now that the mystery of the disappearance of all the slimes is solved, Hambit uses the Fireball skill to eliminate the king in the flashiest way possible. This attack should be his offer to Ufotable to hurry up and animate this story. Defeating this monster increases his stats tremendously, and also allots him the title of Adversary of the Bomb Slime. He also achieved the Elite Monster Suppression. Even Hambit knows at this point that the system is being a little too generous to him. Meanwhile, a recently uploaded video on the forum is trending on top. The video is none other than Hanbit's screen recording of the cave massacre. Loper uploaded it anonymously. They deliberately only posted the initial part where all the slimes can be seen around the king slime. The part where Hanbit focused on Reichsten's item was also left in the video. With a small clip, Reichsten's reputation took a major hit. Everyone is giving Reichsten the same titles as One Punch Man Season 3 team. This cave was dug out by the miner named Gentromber, an NPC he found in the guidebook. Later, the Bomb Slime King took over his cave and left Gentromber frustrated. While people were speculating about the disappearance of slimes, Hanbit looked for Gentromber's existence in the guidebook. Afterwards, it was easy to pinpoint the king's location. What's surprising is that despite having Gentromber's name in the guidebook, it didn't say anything about the cave he dug. It makes sense that the guidebook doesn't reveal too much information, but the real question is just how much this adventurer A knows about this world. Despite the enormous amount of information, the accuracy of some parts is vague. Some parts are straight up wrong. It's like adventurer A is deliberately steering people in the wrong direction. Hanbit is now curious about just who this adventurer A is. Loper is now giving a lecture on learning skills, especially magic. The most important thing to learn magic is proficiency. Not just magic, but proficiency is a must-fill to learn the next rank of all skills. Magic is the hardest when it comes to building proficiency, so it makes sense that most people give up magic altogether and go down a different skill tree. Yet this blank-faced, brain smaller than Deal guy somehow managed to hit 100% proficiency in one day. Hanbit could just nervously laugh. Loper begs Hanbit to confess that this is just a silly prank. Hanbit tries to comfort him by saying that he's only rank 1 right now, but even that takes at least a month to reach. Loper has had enough of this guy's lies. He wants Hanbit to open up his status window so Loper can see the truth for himself. Unfortunately, this demand only helped blow away Loper's mind. Having him open the status window was like watching your lie in April thinking that it's a rom-com. Hanbit has a rank 1 star in all 4 skills, not just the magic skill. This has to be a bug. Loper is unable to comprehend the perks of being the main character with his small brain. Jokes apart, Hanbit wants Loper to keep this proficiency a secret from chat. He knows that it would only attract more viewers and fare well in the long run, in terms of donations of course, but he wants to show him something fun. Fast forward to Loper and Hanbit arriving at Sybil's store while streaming. Chat is wondering what took them so long to come live. By the way, there's a lot of Reichsten guys standing outside the store to clear the quest. Loper apologizes to chat and explains that they needed to look into all the rumors going around right now. He then clarifies that they have nothing to do with Reichsten. If they were to associate with them, why would they reveal this information to everyone? This explanation makes sense. Most of the OG supporters trust them, but others still have their doubts, so they are maintaining a neutral stance. They don't need to worry for long because they'll present proof soon. Before Black Dragon goes to find Baldur's master, he has to take care of something first. Maybe he just wanted to recharge his soul with Atsabal's pretty smile. Meanwhile, Hanbit asks Atsabal if Leah ran off again. Atsabal's sighs as that little beast is a bit too much to handle. Hanbit tells her not to worry, and fully believes that they will soon be living together. This brings a smile to Atsabal's face. She then asks what brings Hanbit here. He tells her that he's here to learn the next magic spell. Atsibishbil is very much delighted to hear that, and with a bright smile, she blinds half of the chat. Seeing that he has actually met the proficiency, the chat goes crazy. Atsibish hands over the second spellbook. Right away, a new quest appears to learn the second magic spell from Atsubo, a hero-ranked skill. Getting another rare-ranked skill is surprising, but it's not as rare as the unique ranked skill. Hanbit raised everyone's standards too high. He looks back to make sure the guys from Reichsten are watching him and opens the book to learn the skill. He receives the rewards and ranks up. He also learns the Fire Burst attack. Hanbit has once again received first-come, first-served rewards. This time, the Reichsten guys witnessed it firsthand, so they're gonna storm the store after this. Atsubo then suggests Hanbit visit the Magic Research Institute based in the city of Ifrit. If he finds himself in a slump, Hanbit steps out only to find a group of Reichsten guys. Even the Golden Bow guy is standing outside with a failed attempt to aura farm. Take off the hood, bro, you're not him. While walking through this crowd of NPCs, Hanbit rage baits the rank guy to relax his constipated face. He gives a controversial statement before leaving. Now Loper and Hanbit are sitting in front of the store, watching the greedy clowns getting their hands on the spellbook. Loper is getting a bit worried now. With how things are looking, Reichsten might hog all the good ones. He wonders what Hanbit wanted to show him. Hanbit counter-questions Loper and asks if he knows the difference between him and those clowns. Meanwhile, the golden boy with a bow up his astounding overcoat asks everyone to open the book at the same time. Hanbit gets up to see the best part of this show. At the count of 3, everyone opens their book and suddenly, they all light up on fire. Everyone panics and no one seems to have any clue what just happened. Furthermore, they have made Atsubel angry now. She kicks everyone out before they burn her shop down. Hanbit and Loper are clapping at this amazing fire show. The rewards have already changed. Nobody has learned it yet and the rewards are already decreasing. Golden Bow guy asks how many players have completed the quest by now, so this nobody replies that no one has yet. He then approaches Hanbit with an angry look on his face. Looks like Hanbit's rage bait got through. He tells Hanbit that he wants to have a chat with him. Mr. Reichsten skips all the trashy introductions and asks straight away why he was the only one who succeeded. He referred to Hanbit as newbie, so Hanbit replies appropriately by asking why a newbie would know anything about it. A veteran like him should be explaining this. He gets a bit more frustrated and states that all 50 of the people in front of him failed to clear the quest, but Hanbit didn't. Now they won't be able to get a hero rank spellbook since the rewards decreased. Mr. Wannabe Big Shot tries to guilt-trap Hanbit into thinking that he stole innocent players' opportunity to get a hero rank spellbook. Serious face by saying that them failing the quest isn't actually a coincidence. He then explains that ranking up depends on proficiency. These guys tried to rank up without maxing their proficiency, hence the beautiful fire and tears show. It does make sense, but Mr. Golden Bow has not become a ranker for a newbie to teach him this stuff. With veins showing up on his face, he yells at Hanbit in anger that the same conditions should apply to him as well. Hanbit gives him a clueless look, saying that he obviously maxed it out. Ranger has the exact same impression as when you hear your 30-year-old friend telling you about the new girlfriend he made at work. But he works in a school with all-male faculty. Hanbit offers to show his screen if a verbal statement isn't enough to convince him. He already achieved the satisfaction of humiliating Reichsten, so there's no need to hide the proficiency stuff. He mocks Ranger for being the leader of a big guild's advanced team. Yet his source of information was Hanbit's stream. Hanbit then shows his stat screen, and Ranger straight up refuses to accept that Hanbit maxed out all his skills in one day. He thinks he's some hacker, and like a toddler, he threatens to tell on him to Dev Sensei. Hanbit doesn't care since he earned this proficiency himself. However, Ranger should be worried with all their dirty tactics. Ranger thinks that it's just a childish provocation, but Hanbit takes it as a compliment, saying he does like young, but not as young as a child though. Mr. Edgelord living up to his name. Ranger has realized that he'll only lose more aura if he stays here, so he turns around to leave while Hanbit advises him to play the game like a man. Don't be like someone who uses his position to overturn a player's red card during World Cup knockouts in the name of freedom. Ranger barges into the store and tells his team to keep trying to clear the quest and forget Hanbit's bluff. However, Hanbit knows that all these attempts would be futile. He feels bad for Atsubel because she was a teacher who wished for her students to gain qualifications through steady effort without greed. He still remembers how physically painful her lectures were. She's the one who taught him that magic is mathematics. She had seen many people die trying to get ahead quickly. She would never let him move on to the next spell before his fundamentals were perfect. Somewhere in those 55 cycles, he started growing impatient. Imagine having to study calculus 55 times. Who wouldn't get impatient and try to find a shortcut? However, Atsubel actually kicked him out for trying to find a shortcut. Her personality and principles haven't changed in the game system as well. Reichsten is actually digging their grave because all this pestering is decreasing her favorability massively. As they walk away, Loper tells Hanbit that he was a bit harsh on Ranger. They have haters, but they also have a huge fan base, who will hate them now. Hanbit tells Loper that he's rooting for him to win against Reichsten and their fan base. Like a good friend, Hanbit has initiated a war and backed off to let his friend deal with the mess. Anyways, everyone enjoyed seeing Reichsten get humbled. The Idio duo comes across this village, and Hanbit suggests stopping by for a bit. He needs to prepare something before heading for Baldur's Master. This Chiga keeps delaying it. As they are walking through the city, they come across a crowd gathered in the city center. Hanbit wonders what the fuss is about. Knowing his low intellect and even lower situational awareness, Loper explains that the green robe lady in the middle is Rafina. She's one of the few spirit summoners, and Hylol, that guy who called dibs as Atsabel's husband, is now claiming that Raishten is his wife. Told you, always the 2-inchers. Just one smile from Raishten, and this down bad dude in chat wants Raishten to take him as her bride. Also, Fork, you mean big sister. Hanbit doesn't care about Raishten. The only thing that gets him hard is his internship, where his team lead yells at him and treats him like a middle child. He's more interested in this only a few spirit summoners part. Turns out, only those chosen by spirits can use them. Not only does it consume a hell lot of mana, but meeting a spirit is very difficult. This is a bit different from what Hanbit knows. He still vividly remembers the first time he formed a bond with a spirit. He then asks how strong this Rafina lady is. Loper reveals that she's in the top 4,000 players, so very strong. Her main specialty, apart from her looks, is water magic. Her spirit skills are stuck at rank 3, so she's more of a water magic user. The spirit summoner is just an honorary title at this point. Meanwhile, the crowd is requesting Raishten to show her spirit. Loper asks Hanbit if he's also interested in spirits. Turns out he is. Still, spirits are different from magic. Despite being a game, the birth trait applies to these spirits. Raishten starts to summon the spirit while Hanbit is surprised to know that she's someone who benefited from that birth trait. What's more amazing is that she formed bonds with both water and wind spirits in just 6 months. Unlike you guys who couldn't form bonds with a single girl in your long life. Finally, the 2 spirits appear, and that 2-incher now wants these cute spirits to be his wife as well. Don't know about Eldians, but somebody needs to euthanize this bad person, or as Santa would say, son of a ho-ho whore. The entire crowd is mesmerized, including our very own Golden Retriever and Black Dragon. Upon Hanbit's inquiry, Loper shares that it has been 10 months since Raishten has been stuck at rank 3. Hanbit thinks that something other than proficiency is the problem. Hanbit asks if she's the #1 spirit summoner, so Loper tells him that she is, at least among the publicly known users, because the top players often guard their info very strictly, so who knows. Only one player can clear RP and gain ownership, so obviously information is a powerful weapon. Hanbit wonders what kind of people these top players are and what the hidden world is like. For some reason, people who bond with spirits always feel strangely familiar to him. Now then, it's time to focus on the quest, so they head towards the stop they stopped by for. Loper was excited to see what Hanbit wanted to buy, but it turns out to be useless, like the Apple stickers they still put in the box. Sorry, the eye stickers. Give me an eye charge, bro. Never let Tim cook again. After a bit more walking, they finally arrive at the place where the wind gathers. The place is like an entrance. Loper is on point when he says an entrance to the afterlife, because what is this, bro? The quest appears, saying that if the player earns acknowledgement of Baldur's master, he might earn a very good time with your mom. Finish the sentence, devs. Anyways, the objective is to find the wind swordsman in the Edland Forest. Chat is discussing the best approach. They don't care about the quest, but seeing these 2 jump off the cliff should be interesting. They even offer a 10,001 reward for them to jump to their deaths. The reward is increasing, but Loper looks at Hanbit's face and realizes that there's a bigger problem to undress first. Hanbit actually wants to jump. Without giving Loper a chance to talk some sense into him, he grabs Loper and jumps off the cliff. Things men do for money. Loper seems to have passed out. After falling for a long time, they finally come across a magic circle. Hanbit saves Loper from crushing his bones. Thankfully, although their offing attempt did bag lots of donations, the reason he grabbed Loper was that a player cannot jump down without an admission ticket. He plans to hide this information until Raishten guys fall over at least 10,000 times. Hanbit is petty, and we love him for it. Loper points to this person standing at the top. That person is Baldur's master. Loper is delighted to hear that. Now they just need to walk up to him, and the quest is over. A bit too easy. Hanbit agrees that it is easy and asks Loper to go first so he can film the quest for others. Tears start rolling down Lopia's eyes. His brother is putting stream above his selfish gains. How noble. A soul of a true streamer. Hanbit tells him not to worry about it and hurry up. He even gives Lopia a motivational push. The happy dog starts running uphill, and all his enthusiasm drains through his pants when an arrow almost pierces through his head. Now he hates Hanbit for betraying the trust of an innocent maiden. Loper believed in him. Chat feels bad for Lopia being bullied by Demon Dragon. They can't wait for Hanbit to pull off a prank like this again. Hanbit then takes out his bow and takes aim at Loper. Now Hanbit almost takes down Loper. Chat is saying their goodbyes to Lopia since Hanbit has finally decided to steal the stream. He then fires a few more arrows. As a result, more arrows like the first one are fired. Hanbit figured that there would be more traps like this, so he triggered them with his arrows. As they walk forward, they feel an earthquake. Imagine being underground and an earthquake hits. Thankfully, it's not an earthquake. Just a cute little boulder weighing several hundred tons with nowhere to dodge. Why dodge when you have a blasting power like Hanbit? He breaks off the floor, cutting the big ball-shaped rock's route to Lopia's balls. One of the guys in the chat shares that Raishden guys are also attempting this quest, but for some reason they keep falling. Loper and Hanbit continue their quest while chat wonders if he's a Mongolian or something to be this barbaric. Another issue is on hand now. They are out of arrows. All the more reason for Hanbit to flex his sword skills. While staying vigilant to their surroundings, they keep moving forward. Identifying the traps is of course the second priority. The first one for Lopia is keeping their streamers updated. The traps intensify as they get close to that uncle. Just then, Hanbit tells Loper to stop. Thankfully, he obliges in time, or these arrows appearing suddenly from the ground might have entered some extremely uncomfortable areas. Loper is impressed with Hanbit's sixth sense. In reality, these traps are drilled into his brain after getting slimed so many times. Another boulder appears, this time from the top. Hanbit destroys it in time using Fire Burst. Loper is now getting tired of walking so much. Even golden retrievers get tired of all the dog walk. Hanbit isn't lying when he claimed to have finally reached the destination. Right in front of them is Baldur's master. Unupti's just sitting there with his hair flying around like a princess waiting to be rescued. Lopa's eyes light up as the quest clearance is just in reach. However, Unupti tells them to go away as he has nothing to offer them. Lopi immediately starts crying. Chad is right, bro does have elite reactions. Even Hanbit enjoys them since the last time he was in this world. The one sending him was an expressionless, nonchalant baddie. Hanbit doesn't seem too worried. A lion doesn't concern itself with consent. He sits down and asks Loper to do the same. While they camp right beside Unquan Warrior, Hanbit says that he has passed the test she prepared. Oh, Unquan is actually a princess. Hi lol, her name is Asla, and she's extremely wary of outsiders. Approaching her carelessly would split you in half. Hanbit brings out the mark of the sword and some liquor. Hanbit once tried everything to win over Asla, but nothing worked. It was the 10th cycle when he possessed Asla's body. A skill that allows you to gradually inherit the owner's thoughts and experiences. Not only did he learn hundreds of attack patterns, but also the secret to win her over. He rolls the liquor bottle towards her, but she claims that she no longer drinks. Okay, not only is bro refusing to leave when she clearly said so, he's also trying to get her drunk. What in the Wattpad romance is this? I think he doesn't understand that RP stands for Record Project. Anyways, he asks her to roll back the bottle if she doesn't want to drink. Her words have little credibility when there are lots of empty bottles lying around. Shout out to the writer who delivers her liquor in this cave. Hanbit says that she already had some, so why not another? He then rolls another bottle towards her. He claims that the ones he brought are better than anything she has tasted in her life. The oracle claims to have tasted every alcohol in this world. A greenhorn edgelord Lopia Forker can never satisfy her tongue. She agrees to give it a taste, but if she doesn't like it, Hanbit and Loper Bet get lost quickly. She grabs the bottle and takes a sip. Thankfully, that 2-incher isn't here to say that he wishes to be this bottle. One sip is enough to get this alcoholic baddie addicted to its taste. She can't seem to have enough of it. The 2 bottles Hanbit offered are chugged down faster than my dislike on a hate comment under this video. Dudes be taking dives, but can't take a joke. This drink is what Hanbit wanted to buy in that city where they saw Raishden. With a cute expression and breathtaking look, Alsa asks if there's more of this drink. Hanbit's plan succeeded. He then gives her all the bottles he bought, enough to satisfy a normal person. But of course, Alsa and Scottish people are exceptions. One of the down bad guys in chat wanted to share this romantic moment with Alsa, so he also started drinking with her. Although he chose water instead of liquor, he got drunk before Alsa. She admits that the drink was not bad. After all that, she's still not drunk. To all the single moms, learn from Asla. Loper wonders how Hanbit knew the recipe for the blend that won Asla's heart. Loper still doesn't understand the MC effect, so Hanbit convinces him by saying that he used to work part-time at a bar. It's actually a tribe at the edge of the continent. Asla saw the mark of a sword tied on one of the bottles, so they can at least talk now. She asks what Baldur said to him. Hanbit reveals that it was nothing. She opens the mark and tells him that there's nothing she can do for him. Hanbit interprets it as there is something she can do, but no one can pull it off. Asla praises his observational skills. Hanbit knows that the swordsman of the night had many disciples, but no one succeeded in manifesting her sword. After her best and most promising talented student Baldur also failed, she gave up and vanished quietly. She tells him that the talent required to inherit her sword is not a simple matter. Just because he can swing a sword nicely doesn't mean he's eligible. Hanbit already knows that she is talking about spirit affinity. During his cycles, Hanbit learned that spirits aren't something one uses with talent, but they have to slowly bond with them to accumulate. Accumulate what, bro? Meeting Asla is important to bond with spirits quickly. Asla then blows at Hanbit and finds out from her spirits how he passed the test. She praises his sword skills and battle tactics, but he's so not the one to inherit her sword. She tells him to go back. Just then, the system window pops up. Finding Asla quest is completed. Next up is a linked quest to convince Asla. It's a multiple choice quest. A hidden quest is exactly why all the viewers keep following this idiot duo. Among these 3 options, Hanbit chooses number 3. Asla's skill is important, but communicating with spirits was his main goal for this quest. Loper's brain is blown away again. He can't comprehend the thought process behind choosing the worst possible option. What else do you expect from someone with a name Black Dragon? Right away, he's surrounded by winds and other game animations indicating the initiation of talks with spirits. His title, Chronicler of the 55th, gives him some special effects. Since spirits do not approach humans carelessly, Hanbit needed to do all this. Even if the player increases the bonding, he can't tell the exact level. Hanbit wonders how they implemented spirits in the game. Will the communication method be the same? He raises his hand and sees a spirit message popping up that the wind spirit, Sylph, feels a strong curiosity towards him. A hand extends towards him, and Hanbit is stunned to witness the one approaching him. He can't see anything, but the feel at his fingertips feels too familiar. He needs to prove his spirit affinity now. Asla states that it wouldn't be a simple task. The system starts sensing spirits. Hanbit feels the same thing again. He recognizes this spirit. The spirit of wind, Sylph, answers his call and smiles as if she's amused to see this player. She's surprised by Hanbit's affinity and wishes to accompany him. She transforms into this Pookie bird, and Hanbit has succeeded in summoning a spirit. He gains the title, Friend of the Spirits. Now all skills based on the power of spirits would increase by 20%. Now that he has this cute Tweety, he has earned the right to be Asla's underling. With a smile, she agrees to teach him. And that wife freak is back who also wants to be her underling so he can be under her ling. The hidden quest is cleared as she hands him a book. Here's the list of rewards he receives by clearing this quest. Hanbit opens the book and a system window pops up asking him if he wants to use the secret tome. He'll lose basic swordsmanship and swiftness, but earn better versions of those skills, like the modded APK files. Apple users may not understand this iReference. Without any second thought, Hanbit clicks on yes. The window disappears, and a new window appears to show him the epic rank 1 and rank 2 skills Hanbit just bagged. Loper and chat are once again astonished. It's as if the author is being a little too generous with his protagonist. Unfortunately, it's the goddess being generous, and Hanbit knows that this generosity might become problematic in the future. Swordlord donates them 200k just so he can see a demonstration of these skills. Hanbit brings out his sword and activates the movement of the wind skill first. Sylph disappears, and the sluggishness Hanbit felt from the gear has now decreased a lot. He asks Loper to get back as he raises his sword up and swiftly swings it. A slash of wind cuts the giant rock in front. An active skill that is at least rank 4 in power, if not more. Chad and Loper serve their purpose in their story once again by acting all shocked. Since it's a spirit skill, it doesn't cost any mana, but it's still not infinite, except for places where spirits dwell. Sylph is back in her bird form. Even Asla is impressed with how quickly Hanbit adapted to this skill. She then gives him a warning that an ominous energy, strong enough to harm the spirits, is lingering in Edlin. He must remain cautious. She then heads back to her usual sitting spot. Chat wants more hints, but it looks like Hanbit already knows something about it. But he doesn't want to use his mouth unless he's paid handsomely. The donations actually start pouring as they bag 1,000,001 in under a minute. Hanbit tries to drag it a bit more. Just then, this avant-garde named person donates 1,000,001 and states that he's also a streamer. He wants to talk to Mr. Black Dragon. Avant-garde is actually a big shot. Another person named Power Bridge Corporation donates 2 million. He introduces himself as Kim Ju-ho from Power Bridge Corporation. He's interested in buying the information about this hidden skill. Loper and Hanbit are already losing their mind. Poor Sylph is getting squished. More corporations try to approach him by donating over 3,000,001 at once. Loper suddenly got that rich guy glow up. To calm himself down in this amazing situation, Hanbit states that they should get out first. By the way, those Rashten guys are still falling like the grades of a child, with recently divorced parents. Loper wonders just how much they earned in that short moment. Those viewers are also trying to figure out Hanbit and Loper's real identity to approach them in the real world. However, the situation is still under control for now. People are still respecting the unspoken rule of hidden identity streaming, so never disturb their real life. The thought process behind revealing the process of obtaining this skill was B-Team. He wanted to build a foundation for eventually streaming on his own, as he and Loper talked about in the cafe, and secondly to see if he can get people to throw money at him while wearing normal clothes. If he starts trading information, RP would lose its freedom. Since everyone showed so much interest, Hanbit doesn't want to keep this information between just the rich guys. He decides to reveal it for free. Avant-Garde is trying to stop him, but Chad is roasting him up. Hanbit states that he can contact the channel owner, Loper, if he wants to talk. He'll only entertain it if the proper channel is followed. He then tells everyone that he will post the hidden information on the forum once he finishes today's stream. Lopia adds that someone might try to monopolize the information again like last time, but Hanbit and Sylph think otherwise. Lopia wonders what makes him so confident, especially after that Rashten and slime controversy. That's because Asla, who the translators have suddenly decided to call Asura, will slime them. There's also no way to monopolize spirits because they hate shortcuts and trickery. Acting recklessly before a spirit is like putting your money in trading. It's going to cost you a lot. The rich duo then heads back to Edlen. Meanwhile, Kim Jampo is getting clapped by his boss at the office. Just because he made him pull off 6 or 7 all-nighters in a week doesn't justify his low-quality work. Here comes the restarted group of 6 or 7 enjoyers. What's the point in working overtime if the work is worthless? He's reminded of how much money the company's losing because of him on this RP project. Japo is staring at the floor, apologizing for his inability. Flashback time. 4 years ago, he was this super motivated recruit who always gives his 120%. 2 years later, he joined the RP project team since it had the highest opportunity to grow. At first, the team made lots of profit. Then one day, Kim Japo discovered a hidden quest while tracking dwarves. Upon this big discovery, he rushed to the manager to inform him about this success. Even the manager felt delighted and gave an evil smile. The kind of smile that even makes other straight guys in the room feel uncomfortable. Since this company didn't have big investments, Japo suggested selling this information to another first. However, greed took over Mr. Four Eyes. Manager Lee uses the art of bootlicking to get the CEO on board. He gets permission to commit every employee to this quest so they can finally join the big leagues. Of course, Japo also thought about how amazing it would be if he actually pulled it off, but he wasn't so confident in himself. He visited that place over and over again, but his luck ran out. He never found the hidden quest again. After a while, other competitors joined the race. The big ones crushed them with overwhelming manpower and funds. At this point, Japo realized the downside of working for a small company with big greed. 3 months later, the CEO stopped the hunt and told manager and Japo to follow him to the office. They entered the office, and the look in the CEO's eyes clearly told them to lock the door and bend over the table. He yelled at the manager and Jaeho, but the manager successfully put all the blame on Jaeho. He apologized for not stopping him in time, but Jaeho was so confident about this that he had to believe in him. Even when Jaeho tried to justify himself, the manager shut him up. At this point, Jaeho regretted discovering that hidden quest. He blamed himself for that over and over again. Back in the present, the manager has already insulted him enough, so he then asks if he has exchanged a word with that Black Dragon guy yet or not. Jaeho shows him the report on how he's planning to contact him since it will be a difficult task. He believes that the best way to get in touch is using the stream donations, but this triggers the manager like he's an American, and Jaeho asked him to walk on foot for 50 centimeters. Since you people aren't familiar with the metric system, 50 centimeters is 5 Big Macs long in freedom units. The manager refuses to spend any more money on Jaeho, although other corporations are using the same tactic to beat them to dust. He grabs the report and is shocked to find out that Jaeho plans to drop 1,000,000 won on a single donation. He gives Jaeho a reality check about what kind of situation he's in, and tells him to pull it off without wasting any money. After a couple more insulting remarks, he leaves while Jaeho stands there, convincing himself that he gotta endure this treatment for his family. Life of a father and a husband. Meanwhile, back in Edlin there are a lot more people around, only this time they are gathered to see Black Dragon in person. Lopier is all pumped up now, so he suggests heading to the main quest with the same momentum. Hanbit thinks that it's already late, but Lopier corrects him that it's only 2 a.m. in the night. Hanbit reminds him that he still has that slavery job in the morning, so they should call it a day now. Lopier makes a puppy face, begging for something for him and his stream fam. Hanbit gets the cue and says that he's gonna assign his stats before heading out. Hanbit is already at level 16 and has 51 stat points yet to allot. He cleared that hidden quest without using any of his stats. Lopier and chat are for the gazillionth time shocked. Hanbit wanted to think more about it, so he intentionally delayed it. If he were Sanraku, he would have strapped everything on agility and prayed to God that he takes down the enemy before taking a hit. Please watch our SLF video before that Billy guy breaks into this video. B. He increases strength by 1 point and takes out his sword to feel the difference. Unlike those 55 cycles, he doesn't need to grind to reach his prime. He's loving this stats thingy. With this, he may reach his prime faster, or maybe he might even reach new levels of prime. Actual prime, not like a self-satisfying loser YouTuber who challenges a retired Unka for a scripted match. Hanbit and Lopier arrive at this training ground, where Hanbit wants to analyze how each stat affects him so he can balance them perfectly. That time I got reincarnated as a nerd. Turns out distributing stats evenly is a rare thing in RP. Most people dump it all in one trait to become master of one. But Hanbit has read the full quote on Instagram that goes jack of all trades, master of none, but often better than master of one. This further confirms to him that balancing out the stats is the right approach. He can feel the subtle but distinct changes. He dumps more stats evenly and finds out that whenever a stat passes a certain threshold, his physical appearance changes as well. He's also broadcasting all this research, so master of ones feel as stupid as the people who think vaping is safer than traditional smoking. Bruh, don't smoke if you're that conscious, and smoke a real one if you don't care. Pick a lane. Hanbit has allotted all his stat points. Since he's a single, lonely, bitchless pillow hugger internee, he doesn't need much stamina. The rest are raised to 20. Once the spirit energy is charged, he further gains these buffs. Suddenly, Hanbit has changed the mechanics of RP. Chat has never seen someone's stats like these and attacks playing out like this. Lopier is confused because all stat skills are usually versatile, but have a low ceiling. Hanbit corrects him that meeting the all-stat requirement is a bare minimum for a spirit to take interest in the player. The conditions are strict, so it's not a broken system. Even a guy with Down syndrome can explain better than this. Anyways, Lopier then shows his stats. Intelligence stat being low makes total sense, Surprisingly, he has the title of Forest Explorer. Surprisingly, a guy slower than OG browser, Internet Explorer, is a Forest Explorer. Internet Explorer was the name of a built-in browser before Microsoft decided to edge the users. Hunbit wonders why his total stats are only 45 despite being at level 25, but Lopia, with tears in his eyes and taking offense at the max level, clarifies that this is how the stats of a normal player are. 67 stats at level 16 is bizarre. Hanbit tells the already frustrated crybaby that it's because he hasn't been working hard. Lopia is now understanding how it feels to give everything to your company, pulling all those all-nighters, cooperating with late salaries, only for the HR to get the pay raise because of the determination she shows the boss while getting down on her knees. There's a 9-level difference, yet the difference in skill set is like Max Verstappen versus a blind Asian woman. Loper thinks that Hanbit made a mistake with the stamina stat because 7 is too low. Is it like a tribute to Craze 7 or something? RP doesn't show physical health like other games, so he might get one-shot by monsters. Hanbit laughs it off, saying that he'll make sure to avoid all hits. At this point, Loper has given up getting rage-baited. Now then, Hanbit says goodbye as he logs out. Loper also says goodbye to the chat. Back in his room, Hanbit decides to wash off all the sweat with a shower. After the shower, he checks his phone and finds Loper's messages. His banking app is down right now, so he'll transfer today's donations in 30 minutes, which is 31 million won. Hanbit wants him to split the money in half since they are both in this together. He then lies down to sleep, only to remember his promise of revealing the details regarding the hidden quest. To sign up, he needs to put in the device's unique account ID. After finishing the account, he tries to force his 2 brain cells to organize the thoughts and how to easily explain the quest. He finally begins writing, and the scene cuts to the morning, where Hanbit is lying on his back so the author doesn't have to draw the morning wood. Hanbit's phone is ringing, and it's Lopia. Hanbit scolds him for sending the wrong amount despite him telling him to split it in half. That's not what Lopia wants to talk about right now. He tells Hanbit to check the comments on his post from last night. Here's the post that Hanbit wrote. It says something about swordsmanship, sparring, and of course we ain't reading all it. The top comments are about how confessing your feelings to your crush is easier than this. Lopia thinks that Hanbit shared a little too much for just a hint. This is practically a research paper. Even Loper needs to read again to see whether he can do it or not. He confesses that beating MJ in a smooth operating contest, beating MJ in basketball, or beating MJ in the cringiest female lead is more realistic than clearing this quest. He still confirms the authenticity of all this information. Hanbit replies that everything written is true and it would make it likely for a player to clear the quest. However, he did leave some parts out because revealing everything would be awkward. He thinks that clearing this quest is a matter of talent, and he posted it with the sole intention of having more people succeed. Lopi reminds him that there are many hidden masters in RP other than the Vanguard. With over 100 million players, more people than they imagined would succeed. Hanbit tries, but unfortunately, he couldn't care less about it. Although if more people succeed, his words would get more influential as the real deal. He needs other people to succeed to prove the worth of his information. Lopia then asks what would happen if no one succeeds. Okay, now Hanbit is having trouble acting carefree. If everyone fails, they would think Hanbit lied and he would be labeled as an online course seller or a fraud, as some people call it. He now wants Lopia to give him fake guarantees that someone will definitely succeed. Lopia, who is the reason Hanbit is getting nervous now, tells him not to get impatient. The information hasn't even been up for 24 hours yet. He thinks that it would take at least 2 to 3 weeks before viewer reviews start to pile up. Also, he suggests using this post in the reactions as a reference for future posts. Hanbit appreciates Lopia for acting so reliably right now, but he clarifies that stuff like this is where his strength lies. Hanbit agrees to take on his suggestion. Also, Lopia wants him to try broadcasting himself. Hanbit thinks that it's still too soon, but Loper states that this is the best time because the viewers will go wild for anything he does right now. Hanbit also thinks that he should handle this himself, while Loper deals with the rest of the stuff. He doesn't know how to set up a stream, so Loper sends him the instructions and states that he'll be posting an announcement on his channel that Hanbit will be streaming separately from today onwards. Lopia then gets back to his neat life, whereas Hanbit walks up to his mom and proudly shows her the 20 million won he earned last night. It takes her a while to count the zeros and actually believe that her son earned this much overnight. Hanbit even shows her the stream video. She wonders why people would donate this much with nothing to gain, but Hanbit clarifies that he's selling information like it's merchandise. She then asks why he's showing this to her, so Hanbit states that he wanted to tell her how he earned the amount even bigger than the 3 million that shocked her yesterday. He was worried that she'll beat the cap out of him if he straight up sends her the money, so it's better to share how he earned it. She's happy, but judging by the face of this joke that came out of her body, she asks what else he wants to say to her. Hanbit confesses that he's planning to stream on his own today. Lopia would help him, of course. Mama asks if it will really be alright, since the chat seems to swear a lot, like using the F word. At least it's not the N word or the J word. She then asks if this guy in the thumbnail is his game character because it looks exactly like him. Hanbit says that she was only able to tell because she's his mom, before she could interrogate him about what he will do if his face gets sold across the country. Hanbit claims to be late for work and runs off. Although Hanbit agrees that the goddess had no reason to make his avatar just like the real life, she wonders if the office guys have no problem with him streaming, but Hanbit reveals that they don't even know that he's a streamer. As long as he doesn't start barking in public places, the office may not have any problem. Plus, those overworked zombies don't have enough time to check out streams. At the office, Hanbit is cleaning up, wondering why he's been asked to clean the desks in this internship. He doesn't recall applying for an office boy. Just then, Minho calls him Black Dragon, and Hanbit involuntarily replies. This confirms Minho's doubt that Hanbit is actually Black Dragon. Hanbit is now super worried. He did plan to reveal it to Minho eventually, but the office needs to give this guy more work if he still has time to check out streams. Hanbit hesitantly asks if moonlighting and moonwalking are prohibited. Minho reveals that it is prohibited by the company contract that they make you sign, but since Hanbit is just an intern, it should be fine, although he should keep it a secret from that pink-shirted son of a bush dog. Just as Minho is about to leave, Hanbit stops him, saying that there's something he wanted to hand over. Minho wanted info regarding the gear industry last time, so Hanbit collected the necessary data from his gear and put it on this USB. Minho is shocked to see that Hanbit already completed this task despite Minho asking for way too much data, but Hanbit claims to be in a good situation for data measurement. He fully believes that getting on Minho's good side will benefit him in the long run. He might get information regarding how the world in RP was implemented and just what that nonchalant baddie intends to do. Minho thanks him since he has never played video games before. Hanbit wonders when Minho plans to work on this project. He replies that he intends to finish it this weekend. Hanbit right away requests to join him while doing so. Later that day, he logs into the game and is a bit nervous to stream alone for the first time in his life. After a bit of a low IQ struggle, he finds the stream button and starts right away. Lopier's audience joins right away. Hanbit introduces himself as Black Dragon and is stormed by chat messages. He finally respects Lopier for interacting with such fast-paced messages. For the two viewers worried about Lopier, Hanbit assures them that he will join soon as well. It has been only a few minutes and the viewer count is already at 4,000. He opens the system window and turns on the slow mode since the chat is on fire. Chat wants more hints, so Hanbit says that it doesn't matter if he tells them in more detail, but he already shared way too much, so the next hint reveal will be pushed back by a bit. Other guys in chat do not care about hints and want Hanbit to proceed with the main story. A fight breaks out among viewers, so one of them suggests settling the matter with a vote. They inform Hanbit about the voting function in settings. He opens up a poll with two options, one in favor of hints and the other against it. The voting would only last for 5 minutes. Nearly just then, our very own Happy Dog joins the stream, to further lower the average IG of this stream. Some are happy to see their overexpressive host, whereas a few BL fans just wanted to get Lopier and Hanbit in a single frame. Lopier teases the chat by asking if they actually liked him despite all the bullying. His cute anime girl impression is so intense that most of the viewers suffer from Ed Lin now. He praises Hanbit for getting so many viewers this quickly, but Hanbit shares the trouble of the chat being too fast to read. Lopier teaches him that he simply needs to read the room and communicate. Since he conducted a voting poll, he asks Lopier to announce the results. Over 3,300 unemployed dudes participated in the poll, and a whopping 83% of the votes were in favor of refusing more hints. Now then, it's time to head for the main story. Lopier has been waiting to start the main story for 25 chapters now. Even more because despite being level 25, he hasn't started his main story yet. He was waiting so he could play it with Hanbit. This comment makes that BL fan want to run to the supermarket to buy cucumber and baby oil. If they follow the standard route, the first episode of the main story will take around 2 weeks. By standard route, Lopier means following this specific guide for the main story that everyone uses. The quest is to bring Brooke Norton to justice, who framed and slimed his own brother. Beanbet wonders if he should follow the guide because his story has already strayed far from other players' paths since the Atsubo quest. He can't get ahead of the pack by doing exactly what they did. He decides to trust his own instincts and forge his own unique path. Lopier entrusts Hanbit as the party leader and shows full confidence in however he decides to proceed. His contribution to the quest rarely matters, so he will do what he does best. Get bullied by the chat. They head inside the Adventurers Guild where the cutscene begins. A massive tree in the center of the ocean has a single sentence written underneath. And no, it's not "we had 111 missiles shot by the Islamic Republic of Japan." It said, "Whoever discovers the unknown entity named Urport shall earn the right to face the truth." The ancestors were sure that this sentence was the creator's wish. Driven by a sense of duty, they set out to find One Piece, a duty that they will enforce on future generations as well. Even the generation who laughs at 67 will have to fulfill this duty. Hearing Urport brings Hanbit's trauma back. His eyes look like someone made him watch episode 10 of Violet Evergarden on repeat. The journey to find Urport begins once again. Consider it the 56th cycle. The first step to uncover the secret of Edlin is to seek out a guy named Meal and speak with him. A reward to simply communicate? It's not like the game is asking players to communicate with flat earthers or orange fish supporters to offer a reward as compensation for torture. Turns out Meal is a girl. They finally approach her only for Meal to ignore them as God ignored you when he was creating couples. Mr. Two Incher is back with the my wife comments. Just like this guy can't decide who actually to call his wife, the neighborhood aunts can't decide who's the actual father of Mr. Two-Incher, since they all overlapped. Guidebook Nim donates a 1001 to inform the guys that she's going to be like this throughout the conversation. Hanbit has been left of seen by her like this before as well, therefore he knows the right approach to take here. He asks the cat ears baddie if that perfume belongs to her. With an attitude befitting her looks, she replies that it does. She's ready to hear some compliments, but Hanbit tells her that the scent is a bit too plain for a hottie like her. Miel stops the makeup and actually looks forward to Hanbit finishing his sentence before she beats his aha. However, Hanbit doesn't intend to rage bait her. He actually wants to give her a perfume that actually suits her. Miel is disappointed. Many people have tried hitting on her before, but no one managed to hit. Tad and Lopi are once again sure about the fact that Mr. Black Dragon is indeed the Edlord because what was that lame pickup line? A better approach would be to walk up to Miel and ask her if she wants a stud, then tell her that he already has STD, so Yui are all he needs. Or something like, are you in American school? Because he wants to suit some kids in her. Unfortunately, Bro is being wrongfully labeled as a simp because he actually brought something that she might find interesting. A rare grade firefly flower that enchants wind fragrance. It can only be obtained with the assistance of a spirit. He approaches Miel again, saying that he doesn't know much about cosmetics, so he wants her insight about making a perfume with this item since he found its scent lovely. Miel's heart skips a beat upon smelling this beautiful flower. All of a sudden, they realize that her ears are not the only cat attribute she possesses. She demands that Hanbit hand over this flower to her. No one has seen her react like this before. The guys finally have her attention. Even Loper really likes the scent and asks where he found this flower. As always, Hanbit will lie, right? No, he tells the truth, that he picked it up in the cave last night. As they were about to leave, the system didn't allow Hanbit to leave due to Sylphson interference. The cute birdie then flies off and leads Hanbit to this rare flower that no player has seen since the Heian era. He wonders if he should give it to Miel or not. She's already going crazy over how Hanbit is shaking the flower, endangering its petals. She agrees to talk to him as long as the flower is safe. She then reveals that Edlin is a port city within the Raven Kingdom. Finding her port is the ultimate goal, but motivations vary entirely depending on which faction is after it. The hardliners think of Urport as an enemy. The moderates seek to have dialogue with Urport. Thirdly, the Holy Kingdom that worships Urport. These three are the major factions. There's also the United Nations that observes carefully things happening around Urport. If someone tries to harm peace, they might step in to keep a more intense eye on the events. Worst comes to worst, they might condemn the actions. Hanbit already knows that Raven belongs to the hardliner faction. The kingdom is currently recruiting for an investigation team. The guild is assisting with that to create a group composed of the world's strongest individuals gathered together. The selected candidates will have to pass through intense tests to be inducted as members. A nation that produces members for this team will gain immense prestige and various benefits. In real-world terms, it's equivalent to being a part of the big leagues. The N-word armed state. Of course, we're talking about nuclear. In short, Hanbit will have to prove his worth to join by resolving requests until high-ranking officials seek him out like Messi was scouted from Rosario. While she's explaining the quest, her eyes are glittering at the sight of this beautiful firefly flower. She couldn't care about any black dragon or golden retriever. System window pops up saying that the first main quest is completed. Next up is proving his skill. Current progress is at 1%. He can choose requests from the bulletin board behind her. Lopia adds that monster subjugation is the best way to start for most people, but Hanbit here has fully boycotted the standard approach. The best way to grab attention is to go for something big. He looks around and finds this quest to investigate the interior of a dungeon that appeared near Edlin and eliminate all threats. The difficulty can be anywhere between A to F, so they can either ace it or it will be a fan moment. This bold selection may end his life, but at least Bro will be remembered as the one with balls of steel. Miel very cutely tells him that he can't choose this quest. Even after several attempts to convince Miel, she keeps refusing to allow them to choose this quest. Being the guild keeper, she has seen enough confident newbies biting the dust by swallowing more than they should and ended up choking to death. She feels uneasy whenever that happens. She couldn't care less about the weak guys. But what if this uneasiness causes wrinkles to her face? She doesn't want Hanbit to contribute to her wrinkles. Hence, the permission is denied, with no room for negotiation. Hanbit swings the flower in front of her again, saying that he so wanted to bless it with a new owner, but it will have to wait now. She reminds him that he was supposed to give it to her after she talked to him. She finally gets what the poor $10 an hour workers in America feel after getting scammed into thinking they bought insurance for their mother. But it's just a why did you redeem it guy enjoying that money on poisonous street food. Hanbit keeps shaking the flower to help Miel decide quickly. She even tries to grab the flower, but Hanbit farms some aura and puts forth a sound argument. If he were a rookie adventurer, he wouldn't have such a rare flower. She thinks he got lucky and bought it, or maybe stole it, or begged for it. Ultimately, Hanbit wins the argument and gets the desirable request. He then hands her the flower that she so deserves. Miel is surprised because she was expecting a couple of petals at most. She deeply thanks him since she has desired this flower for a long time. She then tells them to run away if the dungeon quest looks dangerous. As they are heading out, Loper asks Hanbit if he has read the guidebook. Hanbit replies that he has, and it's about uncovering the corruption in the Edlin market. They need to earn the Guildmaster's trust for that. Hunting monsters would have been a better approach because time flows in real time once the main quest starts. Being too slow would result in missing critical events. Hanbit assures him that these reasons are exactly why he chose the dungeon request. Not only will it get them in the Guildmaster's good book quickly, but also progress his story via his own unique route. His strategy will be a rare commodity. If he succeeds in this quest, he can kill 2 stones with 1 bird. That's because Sylph is a bird right now, so bird slander won't be tolerated. Loper then shares that the Vanguard is already on episode 8. Hanbit intends to catch up to them quickly. Despite calling him edgelord, his confidence is making chat doubt themselves. Maybe he can actually pull it off. We have already seen that Hanbit is liked by the author, unlike Gojo Satoru who got kicktated, because apparently he almost cucked his own creator Gege. Being optimistic is a good thing, but Lopia reminds Hanbit that Vanguard players poured their souls into this game, yet it took them 2 years to get there. Hanbit also has a job in the real world, so it might take him more time than them. Hanbit inquires about the place where episode 8 takes place. Loper reveals that it's Pyrea, an island on the western side of the central continent. Moreover, the competition among them is so intense that there's almost no information about it. The island Pyrea gives Hanbit a hint of where exactly those Vanguard players might be stuck right now. Anyways, Hanbit tells him to forget everything else and focus on episode 1, which they should clear as quickly as possible. While Lopia is looking for an easy dungeon, he receives a call from his father, so he excuses himself and logs out for a bit. Hanbit decides to head out alone for now and invite Loper back later. Chat is now discussing which dungeon to go to. One of them suggests a challenge dungeon top 10 mission. Hanbit is interested in this challenge thingy. Only level 30 and below can enter this dungeon in Edlin. However, the 10th place cutoff is around 20 minutes, so sneaking into the top 10 will be impossible. He asks Chat about the location of that dungeon, and upon seeing the location, his smile confirms what we should already have guessed by now. He's familiar with that dungeon. Hanbit baits Chat into thinking that he can get into the top 10 if he really tries. Lucifer suggests setting up a penalty if he fails. Penalty sounds fair if there's an equally good reward if he succeeds. Lucifer registers a 1,000,001 challenge if he succeeds in entering the top 10 ranks. For this reward, Hanbit thinks that maybe the appropriate penalty should be posting a more detailed version of his last strategy guide. The chat unanimously agrees that it's a bad idea. It's like someone is having trouble with algebra and you throw differentiation and integration on him. Hanbit has another idea. They can choose a random person using the raffle function, and he will give a little help to him with the quest. With that, he heads off to the dungeon. After walking for a while, Hanbit arrives at the dungeon entrance. He's trying his best to engage with chat as much as he can. Surprisingly, there's already a massive crowd waiting to see Black Dragon in action. Word here gets faster than a cat hearing the automatic feeder go off. Now he feels a bit nervous with this unofficial fan meetup. Just then, Loper fights his way through the crowd to reach Hanbit. Loper gives Hanbit a scolding session for getting manipulated by chat so easily. Not only did he accept a ridiculous mission, but he also agreed to their ridiculous penalty. Hanbit doesn't understand what's making him so worried. After all, it's just a small mission that he needs to finish quickly. At this point, Loper can't differentiate between overconfidence and absolute stupidity. He tries to smack some sense into Hanbit and tell him he shouldn't be so reckless, especially with major corporations involved in the scene. However, Hanbit assures him that he doesn't do ifs, buts, and maybes. He does absolutes. They shouldn't be so worried about it, especially not before giving it a try. He then points at the ranking screen. The top 3 were all at 30th level, with the first one finishing at just under 19.5 minutes. Hanbit is at half the maximum entry level while being up against freaks who grind speedruns. Hanbit gets all that, but to him life is all sunshine and rainbows. He has already been through hell. Nothing can be worse than that nonchalant baddie making him relive the traumas 55 times. He wants to know what the rewards are for finishing first, so Loper reveals that he will receive the total amount of dungeon entry fees collected over a certain period every week. Kinda like passive income. He can then sell a course on how to finish first to maximize the passive income. Even if it's just game money, money is money, so game is game. Loper is super tense. It's like he was abducted by Elenali's Dragon Road and squeezed dry for a week. Hanbit considers Lopia's suggestion of renegotiating with chat. He agrees and turns around to announce to the chat that he wants to change the challenge. The mission is no longer to get into the top 10. He's gonna get first place for sure. Seems like someone is already drunk on the money that hasn't arrived yet. At this point, Lopia's soul leaves his body. Like that, a boy claimed the life of his best friend for passive income. Apart from Loper, Hanbit is also getting quite a reaction from all these jobless dudes standing outside. They were here out of curiosity, but now they want to see this arrogant guy get humbled. Top 10 was possible if Hanbit got lucky, but he just ruined his chances now. He's going after a record that hasn't been broken in a year. At this point, Hanbit is not even trying to give a fork. Since challenges are solo play, Loper is going to stay here and cheer for Hanbit through the stream. He walks up to the entry point, pays the 500 gold entry fee, while calculating just how much money that Kim Han-seo must have earned in the last year. and gets ready to begin the challenge. Upon his inquiry, Loper reveals that there were many Vanguard players in the top 10 in the beginning, but they focused more on story progression than on cutting down their best times. The player in third, Odin, is a Vanguard. He reached third place on his first try and joined Vanguards half a year later. Judging by the comments, Odin seems to be someone special and extremely talented. Hanbit wonders why he didn't go for first place afterwards. Maybe because 0.1 seconds is not that small of a difference to cover up. Of course, Hanbit is about to realize that still, he's aiming for the first place, so he's going to give it his best. Loper stops him before he heads inside, saying that he should at least look at the guide if he's actually serious about the first place. Since it's an old dungeon, there are many guides available. The most important thing is to ignore the subquest or you won't even rank in the top 10. The subquest is to rescue an NPC girl named Flona. The player will have to clear the dungeon while making sure she's unharmed. It is said that the loss is greater even if the player clears the subquest, so no benefit in wasting time over it. The reward is so bad that there are rumors that Flona is a fake NPC. She's actually a trap to waste the time of players. The reverse psychology goes hard on this brainless dude. Hearing all this makes him want to rescue that girl. However, Looper explains that it would take him an hour to clear the quest while keeping her safe. He can still be first from the bottom, that is. That's also not a bad case for this walnut-sized brain MC because his losing would benefit the stream a lot. Loper wants to knock some sense into him, but all Hanbit could think about is how badly Flona is being treated in the game. Thurance. He's shocked to see how no one realized that Flona is a major turning point in this story. Hanbit assures Loper that there's nothing to worry about and finally walks inside. For someone short on time, bro spent half a chapter on lame discussions. Loper cheers him off as Hanbit walks through the gate. 500 gold is deducted right away and the timer begins. Hanbit calls out self, brings out his sword and begins dashing his way right through the dungeon. He uses rank 1 narrative that enhances wind movement and increases the physical stats. Somehow, Loper just brought out headphones from his inventory and sets up his commentary booth. Hanbit approaches the spike zone, but he's not slowing down. Everyone wants him to slow down, but this is exactly where he's going to accelerate. At his fastest, he tries to jump through the spike zone, but it's too long to avoid with a single jump. Hanbit knows that, so he uses a wind splash downwards using his sword to bounce off the spikes. Just like that, he hopped over the spike zone and avoided all the spikes like the girls avoid you. Some guys in the chat are now thinking that Hanbit might get into the top 10 if he goes on like this. One after another, Hanbit avoids all the traps and keeps moving forward. Using his sword strength and windy agility, Hanbit is untouchable. He comes across another spike zone, only this time it's upside down. He slides his way through it like Mr. 2-incher sliding into DMs of every baddie. He's now at that point in the dungeon where it splits in two. This is where he should find Flona. There she is, sitting alone, scared and crying. Loper didn't know that Flona is just a little terrified kid. Even the chat feels bad for her now that she's in front of them. Hanbit approaches her and introduces himself. Flona introduces herself back and reveals that her friend is sick, so she came out here to find medicinal herbs. She then came across some scary monsters and got lost while running away from them. Hanbit knows that leaving this kind child who would risk her life for her friend for the challenge would only result in one outcome. Lupio outside is crying his heart out for this kind princess and wants Hanbit to abandon the mission and focus on saving her. Even most of the viewers want him to save her, while judging other attempters to heartlessly pass by this innocent kid. As you would expect from our goat, Hanbit extends his hand towards her so they can get out of this dungeon together. Flona tells him that she doesn't have any money to give for the help, but Hanbit tells her that he doesn't need any money. He's a friend of Rhea, so it's only natural for him to help her. Chat wonders why he's bringing up Rhea's name out of nowhere. Flona's face lights up all of a sudden. She still wants to give him this flower as a thank you. Hanbit agrees to accept it once they have both safely made it out. Lupia is still crying for telling Hanbit to ignore this cute, kind-hearted child. A side quest appears to protect Flona and make it out of the dungeon safely. The rewards will be 500 experience points and a red herb. There's no time limit for this quest, but the time for the other quest is running out. A new account named I Am Flona donates 555 KRW to inform Hanbit that 8 minutes have already passed. That leaves him with less than 11.5 minutes to clear the quest. Hanbit thinks that it's more than enough for him. He picks up Flona to give her the princess treatment she deserves, as he starts running towards the dungeon final boss. At this point, Lopia has solved the water crisis in Africa with his tears. Stop, bro, he's saving her now. Although chat keeps reminding him about what he said to Hanbit before the quest began. Hanbit fully realizes that avoiding all traps while carrying Flona is impossible, so he should simply charge his way through with brute force. He gives Flona a heads up that he's going to shift the gears now. Hanbit is not only destroying the traps, but also the pathway that he's going through. The audience is loving this generational run. At this rate, they think that Hanbit might clear it within an hour. Little do they know, bro's still aiming for that first place. Armed goblins appear next, so Hanbit asks Flona to close her eyes for a bit as the scenes are about to get a bit gory. The goblins are Eren Jaegered with a swift slash. This last one tries to land a cheeky attack only to suffer a more brutal fate than his companions. The donations are dropping by as everyone wonders how Hanbit knew about that sneak attack. Little do they know, it's not his first but his 56th attempt. You'll also become MC after failing 55 times. They have arrived at this maze now. Hanbit asks Flona to hang tight so she doesn't fall off while he does something crazy. Loper doesn't understand it. The maze doesn't have foothold detection, so he'll just slip off. However, he's not actually bouncing off the walls but the wind. He clears the maze in a record time and is now up against goblin warriors and goblin archers. Hanbit doesn't have the luxury of watching them react and charge up an attack. He launches an attack first to wipe them out quickly and dash forward. Some goblins are getting Lelochvi Britannia, some are getting Aaron Jaegerd, some are getting Gojo Satarud. Don't know about Gordon Ramsay, but bro here is cooking hard. Hanbit has passed 70% of the quest. Unfortunately, the timer has already hit 17 minutes and 30 seconds. Unfortunately, more goblins have started to gang up on him after hearing the explosion. Hanbit slices them in a single strike and rushes forward. It has already been 18 minutes, so Loper is now feeling what every Argentina fan felt in the knockout rounds. Every match was like Gojo versus Sukuna. Hanbit is now up against goblin gatekeepers, but he only uses 2 seconds to deal with them. 18 minutes and 10 seconds have passed, and Hanbit is now in front of the dungeon boss. He asks Flona to stand back for a minute until he claps those green cheeks. The boss is a level 30 elder goblin. He states those NPC dialogues that he was programmed to say. It has been a minute and 10 seconds, and this inverted teeth and chinny peeny is still yapping about how he's gonna win. Hanbit can't lose any more time, so he launches an attack before the dialogues are completed. He fully intends to finish the fight in this one attack. 19 minutes 22 seconds, and the shield has started to crack. 19 minutes 23 seconds, the shield has cracked, and the sword makes contact with Goblin's green skull. 19 minutes 24 seconds, and the Gob and Lin are separated. Hanbit has actually completed the quest in a record time. He now sits in first place. These are all the rewards that he bagged in just 19 minutes and 24 seconds. Lopia crowd outside and the chat goes crazy over how the Black D has actually done it. He didn't just finish first, he did it while carrying Flona. Hanbit makes a victory scene as the announcement is made of his first place. Upon completion, he's delighted to get over 10 million won in cumulative prize money, an amount that an intern like him can't even dream of making. Including the donations, bro is on the way from his own country with this much money. At least he's working for it. Unlike that Jan guy from our other video who can see the body counts and gets money every second just because the gay author can't come up with a decent idea with his brain as small as his PP. Loper is still crying, by the way, though it's tears of joy this time. He tells Flona the good news that she can come out now, that the scary monster poofed. She was scared at first, but then a green wind warmly wrapped itself around her. That should be Sylph, so Hanbit brings her out to introduce her to Sylph. Flona is overjoyed to see this green bird as cute as herself. Even the chat is in tears. They weren't prepared for such a wholesome moment. All the attempters regret leaving this pure soul behind during their quest. It's time to open that flashy, sparky chest lying around. Frenchman would never leave a treasure chest unopened for this long. She would have already been trapped inside by now. He opens the chest and is almost blinded by the flash emerging out of it. Inside the chest are 2 precious gems. One is the rank 3 unique class, Essence of Earth, whereas the other is the rank 3 epic class, Spirit Stone. 2 items above the unique class make Loper jump with joy. Hanbit is also surprised. The Essence of Earth thingy is indeed a valuable item, but this Spirit Stone, he has no idea about it. He asks Shad about it, but they start cursing him, thinking that this black dragon is trying to flex on them. This stone alone is over 30 million. Hanbit's expressions clearly show that he's only pretending not to know about it to make fun of chat. The crowd outside has increased. After watching him, they also want to give it a shot. Hanbit is happy to see all this competition because he's going to be the one getting 500 gold from everyone here once they fail. There are still 3 days until Monday, so the payday will be worth it. Flona then thanks Hanbit and gives him the flower as promised. After accepting the red herb, another link quest pops up for Hanbit. He has to return to the Adventurers Guild with Flona to unlock another subquest. He finally arrives in Edlin and meets up with Lopia, who introduces himself to Flona. Chat wants Hanbit to tell Flona about how Lopia wanted him to leave her in the dungeon so he can suffer more. For some reason, Flona is already terrified of strangers, so she immediately hides behind Hanbit and gives Chat the exact humiliation they wanted Lopia to face. Hanbit assures her that Lopia is a good guy and totally gets why a child from the slums would feel intimidated in a big city. They are always treated like a middle child. Lopia didn't expect Hanbit to be such a reliable and pure guy, especially since he bullies him a lot. He wonders if he's just pretending to be nice for the sake of the quest, because no way is he a nice person. Hanbit doesn't want to entertain this offensive take on his beautiful personality, so he pushes Loper inside the guild since they have already arrived here. The cutscene starts playing, where we see Rhea begging Meal to issue a request to find her friend. She promises to arrange the reward later, but Meal needs to know the reward before registering. She can't go against the policy since she's not the guildmaster. Rhea requests to meet the guildmaster, but he's not here yet. She suggests asking adventurers directly if it's that urgent. Rhea looks around only to find drunken trash everywhere. Even Atsubel isn't in the city. Who could help her with this matter? Just then, this blue-haired guy tells Meal that he wants to submit a request, so she hands him the request form to be filled out first. Rhea asks her if there are more adventurers around, but Meal shuts her out, saying that she's going to go back to fixing her makeup and doesn't want to be bothered again. With no other option, Rhea walks up to this elephant, barking something about the nobles. The other guy tells him to shut it before someone hears him and gets him arrested. Rhea hesitantly approaches them and states that she wants to issue a request regarding her friend that disappeared into the forest. She promises to somehow gather as much reward as they want if they head out to find her right away. The guys get angry at her for wasting their time when she doesn't even have the money yet. They insult her for being a dumb slum girl. Ryer tries to explain that it's really urgent, but this guy interrupts her, saying that he's not feeling any desperation from her. He thinks that if gold is not with her right now, she should use the available resources. Rhea hesitantly asks what he wants, and the guy puts a dagger in front of her and tells her to point it at a noble. The guy tries to bully Rhea more as he states that she doesn't have to actually use it on a noble. Just pointing at one is enough. They want to scare that noble and promise to brush it off as a childish prank. He thinks that Rhea won't suffer a serious punishment, although the other guy thinks that punishment might even be more severe since she's from the slums. The guys laugh at her while talking about it. It's not like they'll give her the death penalty. Even if they did, this guy states that he couldn't care less about it. Rhea's getting super angry at them, but she controls her rage because saving Flona is the most important thing right now. She agrees to do what they say as long as they help her. She hesitantly extends her hand to grab the dagger. Just then, someone grabs her hand and tells her that she's not the kind of person to do this sort of thing. The cutscene ends as Flona turns back to see Hanbit accompanied by Flona. She immediately hugs her and is relieved to see her safe and sound. Flona reveals that Hanbit is the one who saved her. Meanwhile, the trash and trashier get up to leave. Hanbit gives them a death stare with every intention to rid the game of these NPCs if they ever tried something like this again. Hanbit then offers to walk the girls home while Rhea keeps scolding Flona for going into the forest alone. Flona couldn't care about that right now because the sight of super-fast adventurer Mister is imprinted in her mind. Rhea tells her to talk to her if she needs the herbs or anything and never try something like this again. At least she's back home safe and uninjured. That's the only thing that matters right now, so Rhea sees her off. Flona thanks him again, and while Hanbit is telling her not to worry Rhea like this again, he hears a distant fading thank you from somewhere. He looks around thinking that it must be the wind, but it wasn't. It's Rhea, all embarrassed and in pain for showing basic decency. Hanbit can't believe that Miss Arrogant actually thanked him. Rhea then runs off with Flona, and the system window pops up, stating that the quest is completed. The new subquest appears now, and the objective is to wait for the next meeting with Rhea, who would never forget this kindness. Meanwhile, the chat is already missing Flona. Hanbit then meets up with Lopia, who seems occupied with something. Hanbit succeeds in scaring the bejesus out of our poor guy. Loper states that some idiot ran off and participated in a dungeon race and beat the high score despite being half the level of the previous winner, so his fanboys are a hassle to deal with right now. Hanbit appreciates the hard work and tells him that he should log out and rest for now. He's gonna do the same. However, chat looks super angry at this plan. They want them to continue streaming for now. Hanbit wonders what bone to throw at these dogs so he can use the opportunity to run away. He then decides that despite winning the bet, he'll still go ahead with the one-on-one lesson he promised as the punishment for failing. An hour-long session. Now the chat is super pumped. Everyone wants to be the chosen one. Donations are pouring in since the winner will be among the donors and not freebies, because why waste time on broke fellas? Lopia activates the raffle feature, and there are just under 6,000 participants. The lucky draw begins, and the winner turns out to be Kim Jiraiya. Wait, that punching bag from a small company. Yup, it's that guy who almost yelled his heart out. Lopia asks Mr. Kim Jiraiya if he's in the stream. If so, he should respond to the message in 30 seconds, and they will meet up in Edlin. If he's not online right now, they will redraw. Right away, Kim Jiraiya sends a message stating that he's here. He immediately brings out his gear to log in. Thankfully, the donation he made didn't go down the drain. He can still make a profit out of it. He tries to calm himself down as he logs in. The timid Kim Jae-ha approaches Hanbit hesitantly and introduces himself as Kim Jae-ha from Tile Trading Company. Chat makes fun of him for introducing himself as if he's proposing his love to his childhood crush. He shows immense gratitude for being blessed with this opportunity. Chat is making fun of Kim Jae-ha, saying that he talks like a corporate email. Hanbit asks if there's anything specific Jahie would like to learn. Meanwhile, Lopia is thinking about how Taiyul seems like a familiar name. Jahie states that he's happy with anything Hanbit chooses, so the topic of today's lesson is decided to be swordsmanship. Hanbit can even teach magic, but magic is just like women for Jahie. He knows nothing about it. Hanbit decides that they should move to a suitable place to practice swordsmanship. After walking for a bit, they arrive at Atsubel's store. Loper has no idea why he brought them here. He enters the store and calls out Atsubel. She replies that she's really busy, so just spit out what he needs and disappear like a black father. Hanbit asks if he should come back later if she's busy. She finally turns around and realizes that it's not some random customer but Black Dragon. Chad is offering heartfelt gratitude to God first and then Hanbit for blessing their eyes with his beauty in an apron. Mr. 2-Incher is going crazy. but let's ignore him until he gets neutered. Hembit asks her if she has seen Rhea around. Atosvale shares that she just got back, so she has no idea. She wonders if Rhea caused some trouble again for Hembit to be looking for her, but he assures her that no such thing happened. He then asks if he could use the backyard for some sword training since he couldn't find a suitable place around here. Atosvale replies that it's pretty cramped back there with all the boxes, but he's free to use it if he doesn't mind that. Hembit thanks her and heads to the backyard with his happy and awkward dogs. Hapchitbane has already learned swordsmanship, so Hembit wants him to draw the sword for him. He also asks for his level. Turns out, Unch is at level 52, and he's still as nervous as a Mexican when he sees Icy. Hembit is impressed with such a high level, but Chipane claims that it's hardly praiseworthy because he's been playing RP ever since its launch. Chat can definitely tell that there's some rude manager forcing poor Unt to play this game. Hembit still comforts him by saying that he has enough experience to make up for a lack of skills. He wants to put the theory from the strategy guide into practice. Untik agrees and says yep from the bottom of his heart while holding a sword like a diaple. What's with this stance, bro? The art of holding a sword that has been lost since the Heian era. Kim J-Toy presenting the constipated stance. A viewer makes a new account named Mr. Shame of Swordsman and donates 1,001 to stop Unsif from insulting the sword anymore. Hembit asks if the sword isn't Jeha's main weapon. As expected, it isn't. Jeha normally uses a hammer. Hembit then explains the reasoning behind choosing this backyard as the training ground. He wants to minimize movement because precise control of every move is necessary for every weapon. Hembit takes his stance and asks Jeha to be prepared. Putting everything aside, Jeha fully commits to this training, but his eyes deceive him when Hembit disappears all of a sudden and reappears with the sword to his neck. If this were a real battle, Unchi would be getting buried with a tombstone saying died with 0 skills and beaches. Dwarfs Hembit tells him that Baldur's movements scale according to the challenger's stats, so the Baldur Jeha would face would be much faster than him. Jeha understands and asks Hembit to go again. This time, Hembit announces his attack of going with a downward slash from the right. Jeha blocks it, but it was a bit slower than Hembit's expectations. Just then, Rhea walks by the door to greet Atufsabel. She notices Hembit and is a bit confused to see him here. Hembit also notices her from the side of his eye and decides to speed up a bit. Wait a minute, bro, why are you trying to impress her? Just what are your intentions? Lude, Hembit wants to change the course of this episode. Remember the subquest he got, so he needs to catch Rhea's attention. We get that, it totally makes sense. But have some mercy on poor Unka's fighting for his life here. Grown a man getting bullied like a fat kid. After 50 minutes of torture, Jeha has dropped his sword and given up. He couldn't block a single attack since the first one. A guy who has been playing for 2 years gets humiliated by someone who started a couple of days ago. Hembit cluelessly asks if everything's alright, as if he didn't just bend over poor Unt, and even denied him lubrication. There are still 10 minutes left. Unt is not going to take down this beating. He bends down and picks up his sword to begin the redemption arc. He's not going to let this hour end without gaining anything notable. He asks Hembit if he can use a hammer. Hembit agrees since using a familiar weapon can help more in learning. As he brings out the hammer, he politely asks Hembit if it would be okay for them to skip the practice and have an actual PvP match instead. Mr. Big Balls Unt has locked in. Hembit is shocked, even the chat is shocked. The world shall now know a salaryman's rage. Hembit agrees, and as they are about to begin, Loper interrupts saying that regular PvP comes with penalties, so they need to use duel mode after mutual agreement. Even chat forgot about the brutal penalties. Thankfully, Lopia is here to keep things in check. Jaiha also agrees and sends Hembit a duel request that he accepts right away. If Jaiha's sword stance was funny, check out this Hia stance, the holding yo fart stance. Apparently, Hembit is enjoying it more than others because he yearns for uniqueness. The fight begins, and Jaiha goes for a Thor smash right away. Yeah, I gotta hand him for the strength because what the hell? Thankfully, Hembit dodged the attack in time. Otherwise, this would have ended his 56th cycle. Hembit states that hammers are indeed powerful, but they are slow. A fierce attack means nothing if it doesn't connect. While saying that, Hembit already has his sword to Jaiha's neck. However, Jaiha is fixated on doing it his way. He goes again and fails again. One hit is all he needs, but he's been saying that since he hit puberty, yet he didn't hit any. Once again, he goes for an all-out attack. He's aware that his attacks are slow, so he intends to make up for it using the range of his attack. A Hulkus Thor smash. The entire backyard becomes dusty with the intensity of this attack. However, this also wasn't enough to get Hembit. After all, he's the protagonist of this story. He puts his sword on Jaiha's neck and informs him that the time is up. Like a professional prostitute, Hembit is very punctual. Hembit wonders if combat is really the niche he wants to stick to, while Jill wonders if anything would have changed even if his attacks connected. Hembit's comment after humiliation Unter for an hour is like giving him a rope and pointing towards the fan. Hembit genuinely thinks that Jail should make use of the wide range of paths that RP offers besides combat. At this point, Jail reveals that he's actually a blacksmith. What an amazing confession from someone who was just trying to beat the most popular player in his playstyle. There are levels to being restarted. Maybe Jadewell likes public humiliation or something. Now Lopia and Chat are trying to embarrass Hembit for going that hard on a blacksmith. Hembit also thinks that he put a bit more strength after he heard that Jadewell is an early player. Jae-hye thinks that it's fine because he also thought his high level would give him some edge, but he's now sure that Hanbit is on another level. Just then, this viewer named Speedwagon passing by dropped some extra info that Tile Trading was the first company to discover the hidden route for obtaining the dwarven metallurgy skill. However, they failed as miserably as that peace merchant Orangefish at maintaining peace. Lopia also remembers it since the community was really noisy back then. Hanbit asks Loper if he got that quest, but he reveals that someone found a related achievement, but no one was able to find the quest. Hanbit asks Jae-ha if he was involved in searching for dwarven metallurgy. With immense embarrassment, Jae-ha reveals that he was the first person to discover it, making him the biggest loser since he couldn't find the quest despite being the first. Hanbit is aware of this highly valuable skill that demands equally high requirements. Now that the first discoverer is right in front of him, he can't let this opportunity slip by. He sends Unti a friend request, but he wasn't expecting Unti to give a Lopia-level reaction. No one can tell whether he's happy or upset or just a JoJo fan. Jomei is delighted to finally get something big, other than big humiliation out of this hour-long session. While Jomei is thanking him, Hanbit looks behind to see if Ria noticed him. However, there's a Shinigami standing by the door. It's actually Atsubel who's about to humble these arrogant kids. She told them to be careful, yet her backyard is more messed up than Julio's Akin prison right now. Hanbit apologizes on Jaebel's behalf and says that Jaebel claimed to cover all the repair expenses. People around the city are talking trash about Brooke, who ever since becoming the mayor has led everything to its doom. They preferred things when Mayor William was in charge, but this Brooke guy is highly incapable. Jaeha, Hanbit, and Lopi arrive at this tavern named Don Du in the Edlin Market District. Lopi has never seen this tavern before, whereas Jaeha is also only returning after 2 years. Hanbit hears anti-Brooke people talking about fleeing to a powerful nation like the Holy Kingdom. The other guy reminds him that he has freedom of speech, but the Empire doesn't guarantee freedom after speech. The Gestapo Hanbit asks Jaeha what he should call him, since Kim Jaeha looks like his real name. Antrix is already used to it because of his company affiliation, so it doesn't matter. Chad is calling crazy for using his real name, as one should never risk his privacy on an online platform. Hanbit is reading the comments while having a face exactly like real life. Hanbit then asks Jaeha about his discovery. Jaeha reveals that it wasn't the achievement that he found first, but an item. Flashback to when Bro was hiking in the snow in search of something good. The item had the exact same words written on it as the achievement. Hanbit asks if he could see that item. Jaeha values it a lot, so he's always carrying it. He puts his hand in his pocket to bring out what everyone anticipates to be a mythical item, only for it to be a dog tag. This Unt and his degrading fantasies. As you would expect by now, Hanbit is familiar with this old man pendant as well. He wasn't expecting to see it here. Hanbit asks to have a closer look, so Jaeha hands it to him. The dog tag has a familiar texture and the same words engraved in his tiny brain. He's 100% sure that this item is a key to learning dwarven metallurgy. Hanbit asks where he found this, so Jaeha shares that he found it halfway up the snowy mountains north of Ifrit. Hanbit knows that place with all the ore veins and mine entrances. Jaeha has no idea how Hanbit knows about it, but Lopia, who has felt what Jaeha is feeling hundreds of times in the past few days, brags about how Black Dragon knows everything and has the guidebook fully memorized. Jaeha is having trouble believing this Shui, but he can't really argue after getting humiliated for getting an hour. Hanbit then asks if there's something he overlooked since he ultimately failed to find the quest. Not just his company, but many other groups tried everything and failed. Hanbit thinks that they must have shortlisted the requirements or something since entire companies were searching. Jaeha's company didn't find anything, except this item that only he possesses. That's obvious to Hanbit because dwarven metallurgy can only be obtained by the first discoverer. Hanbit thinks about it and suggests traveling together for a while. Jaeha gives an appropriate shocked reaction. Imagine winning the lucky draw, getting added to friends list, and joining the party. Hanbit thinks that it's a win-win situation for both. With tears of success in his eyes, Jaeha announces his ambition of doing his best to help. Grown a man crying over a video game. Hanbit sends him the party invitation and asks if he has cleared the Elden episode. Being the main quest, Jaeha has already finished it long ago. He would have loved to do it with them, but he'll just enjoy watching them play in his seat in the corner of the room. The three say goodbye to each other after forming a party and log out. Jehifar is crying himself to sleep. Crying with joy though. With the goddess of luck finally looking his way, he might even get promoted at his job. The next morning, Hanbit steps out and takes the bus somewhere. Even though it's the weekend, going outside early still feels like going to work. Hanbit is finally getting into the corporate culture. Why? Because he has started hating his company from the bottom of his heart. Meanwhile, the two guys sitting behind are talking about the dungeon race stream they saw live yesterday. Yup, they are talking about the Hanbit masterclass that took place yesterday. It took these guys over an hour, but that Black Dragon cleared it in under 20 minutes while carrying Flona. At this point, the nickname Black Dragon sounds aesthetic to them. What was Edgelord in the past is now an aesthetic nickname. The conversation shifts to Kim Han-seop's response. The guy who was overtaken by Hanbit. They think that he must still be crying his heart out now that he lost his one-year gold mine. By the way, 50,000 players have attempted the challenge after reading the guide. That's 25 million gold that Kim Han-seop earned. It wouldn't be surprising if he becomes openly hostile to Hanbit now. Not that he can do anything about it though. He finally arrives at his destination. With the help of maps, he arrives at Gyeomsong Villa. He heads inside to uncover the secret of the gear that every RP player owns right now. Hanbit rings the bell and it makes a weird sound, making him think that the bell might be broken like his love life. Just as he is about to knock, the door opens slightly, with a zombie looking outside scaring the hell out of Hanbit. It's Minho saying that Hanbit is a bit early. He welcomes Hanbit inside, and as he enters, he asks Minhee if he was awake the entire night. Turns out, Minhee found something strange that kept him up all night. First of all, he apologizes for his place being so cramped, and second of all, he disassembled the components of a level 1 gear. He still can't understand how the technology is so far ahead of its time. Everything aside, what caught his attention the most is this chip that gave him the real headache. He couldn't separate that strangely patterned thingy at its center. Hanbit takes a closer look and sees a golden sphere. Minho tells him to zoom in a bit more to see a peculiar pattern surrounding it. Something clicks for Hanbit, and he asks Minho for anything else that he found unusual. There is the program that the R&D department gave him appears a bit sus, the same one that Hanbit used while collecting data. Turns out that the framework for that program was provided by RP Games. It's as if the devs of RP wanted companies to dig into their secrets. Most importantly, Minho analyzed the code using the data collected by Hanbit. He noticed the same pattern repeating throughout the code. This pattern never appeared in data from any other department. Hanbit knows these patterns. These are the letters they used in the other world. They are not even trying to hide their shield. Hanbit sticks to the same lie he often tells to Lopia as well. He claims that this pattern looks very similar to a fantasy writing system, a novelist that Hanbit liked created. He thinks that he can decipher the code using the same principles. The word hidden among this pattern is Edlin. The next day, Hanbit starts his broadcast a bit earlier than usual since it's the weekend. He's planning to stream a little longer today. Despite being early, he already has 31,000 viewers. The heart of this stream, Lopia, arrives as well. Hanbit thought he could be busy, but here he is. Right away, he launches his signature move, tears falling down his face. He's so happy that they hit 30k viewers today. He's getting way too emotional, as it just feels like yesterday he was carrying him on his back, and now Hanbit already has 30k viewers. To be precise, it was actually yesterday, because this is only day 2 of Hanbit streaming on his own. Hanbit shoves the crybaby away and thanks everyone for joining. He then proceeds to continue the main quest. Just as they are about to set to Adventurers Guild, Rhea calls Hanbit out. Hanbit went to Atsopsabel's backyard with the intention of seeing Rhea and unlocking the second side quest. Fortunately, he succeeded. Hanbit thinks that it must have been awkward for her since she didn't even get the chance to repay him properly for that favor. She hesitantly asks Hanbit to hear her out for a second. Being a Sigma Alpha male, he tells her that he's busy right now. Rhea loses her composure as she can see him doing what Mbappe would say, for example, nothing. She grabs his arms and takes him away by force. This is exactly the short-tempered Rhea everyone loves. Now that she has already dragged them away, Hanbit tells her that she can let him go now, but it would be a problem for her if he runs away. Hanbit reminds her that running away is actually Rhea's speciality. She can't argue with that. Rhea and the guys finally arrive at Flona's doorstep, where Rhea knocks several times but no one answers the door. She opens the door only to find the house empty. Flona is not here. Rhea is getting super worried now, but Hanbit tells her to calm down as Flona might have stepped out to buy something. That shouldn't be the case because Rhea knows Flona was preparing food to treat the guys as a thank you. Rhea thinks that she must have been kidnapped by someone. Lopia wonders where the quest is leading them, whereas Rhea is already thinking about people who might have kidnapped her. Hanbit thinks that it's too early to conclude that it's a kidnapping because the place should have been in far worse condition if that was the case. She requests Hanbit to help her look for Flona before it's too late. Among this confusion, they suddenly hear a loud noise. It was Flona running back to her house. Rhea rushes out, asking where she has been. Flona is out of breath, so she says something about Ruby. Ruby is the name of Rhea's cat. Flona reveals that Ruby ran off that way. Rhea tells her to stay here while she goes and searches for her cat. Flona is now worried, so Hanbit calms her down, saying that everything would be alright. This only makes her cry, and now Chat has labeled Hanbit as a trashy guy who made a cute little girl cry. Bro knows that simple words aren't enough to stop the cries, so he brings out Sylph. While the little Pookie bird tries to cheer Flona up, Hanbit interprets that Sylph is telling her to stop being sad or else Ruby would feel guilty when she's back. There, Flona immediately believes Sylph's words and stops crying. Now that Flona has calmed down, she asks Hanbit if Ruby will be back safely. Hanbit pats her head, saying that he can also go look for her if that would make Flona feel better. Flona takes him up on this offer. He asks Sylph to keep her safe and heads off to find Ruby. The side quest 2 is finally unlocked, and the task is to catch up with Rhea and find her lost cat. The reward would be unlocking side quest 3. Rhea is leaving no stone unturned. She knows cats have the ability to find the most diabolical hiding spots, like what you mean you were hiding in the microwave. Hanbit sneaks behind Rhea to let her know that he's here to help. However, Bro needs to work on his communication skills. He scares the poor girl to the point where she becomes Ruby and jumps all the way to that roof. She scolds him for leaving Flona alone, but he tells her that Sylph is looking after her. She still thinks that she can handle this small task, so Hembit should just head back and wait. What sounds like a baseless claim since she's still without Ruby. She tells him to save the rage bait for the future. Hembit claims to know where Ruby went. It's the sewers. Being a tsundere, she gets angry at him for not telling sooner, whereas Hembit fails to remember the time she asked. She immediately heads towards the sewers, and Hembit tells Lopia that they are going to follow her. Okay, so Lopia has been to the sewers once when he wandered in by accident. The area is very huge and it smells awful. He doesn't want to go there again, but Hembit is already leaving. They are in the sewers, and Lopia is questioning Devdi's decision to include this stench. He then asks Hembit if he's sure that Ruby came here because this doesn't seem like a place cats would visit. Hembit can see through Lopia's useless attempts at ending the sewer visit quickly. Even though the guidebook covers it, most people avoid it because there's just a tiny appendix about it in the corner of a page. Most players wouldn't even know it exists unless they're an unemployed hardcore fan. This guy in chat thinks that those unemployed broken nates should be classy RP enthusiasts instead because it sounds classy. Mr. Explainer donates 5,001 to reveal more details about the sewer system that was designed by Erteliger. Before he reveals any info, Hembit cuts him off because he sees Rhea right in front of him. She's confused because Ruby's trail ends here, so she's going to check the surrounding areas now. Hembit stops her and points towards that hole in the wall, implying that she must have gone through that. Rhea is now even more confused because how can she get there? Hembit asks her and Lopia to step back as he unleashes a fire blast and destroys the entire wall. Rhea can't believe the absurdity behind his actions, destroying public property like it's nothing. Hembit believes that they won't be punished as long as they keep it a secret. Now they head inside this hidden path to look for Ruby, but Rhea refuses to follow them. That's just her rebellious phase, so ignore her. She ultimately follows them inside, and right as she goes through the hidden passage, her amulet starts shining like a bald man's head on a sunny day. Her necklace shines brightly until it detaches and falls to the ground in a ring form. Rhea is shaking because what the hell was that? She has a bad feeling about it as she bends down to pick up the ring. Just then, she feels the wind. It's the wind spirit Sylph expressing her anger. Hembit looks at Rhea, who's on the verge of crying, and asks what's wrong. Rhea tells her that she has a feeling that something dangerous, something really bad is about to happen. Meanwhile, chat wonders what Sylph is doing here when they left her with the guard duty. Hembit tells her that he's still gonna go ahead. Rhea grabs his sleeve, saying that she doesn't want anything bad to happen to him. Otherwise, Flona and Atsabel would be heartbroken. She clarifies that only those two would feel heartbroken and not her. Hembit assures her that he's gonna be alright, but Rhea replies that this is what every character says before passing on to the afterlife. It's either I'm gonna be alright or now I'd win. Denise then asks Ruby to look ahead because Sylph has already found Ruby. Rhea is delighted to see Ruby alright, although there's something strange on her front paw. Someone tied something to Ruby that she's desperately trying to get off. Hembit takes it off, and the paper turns out to be carrying Holy Kingdom's flag. Right away, the system window pops up stating that the subquest 2 has been completed. The next subquest is to find more information about Ruby carrying this emblem. The task is to report the clue to the guild master. Hembit tells Rhea to head back to Flona with Ruby while assuring her that he's not up to some dangerous stuff. He's simply going to report this to the guild. Rhea then runs away, and Hembit heads off to clear this subquest. The guys arrive at the guild and approach Miel, who's still living in her own world. She knew these guys would be back soon to change the request. They should have stuck to herb-gathering quests. Hembit tells her he's here to inform her that the quest is cleared. As proof, he brought this item. The chat is still stunned at what their eyes got to witness. Miel knows that people think of her as a beauty without brains, but she's not falling for this lie. However, the moment she lays eyes on this spirit necklace that only drops in D-rank dungeons or higher, she realizes that Hembit actually pulled off the impossible. She pulls his cheeks just to make sure he's not some ghost. Chat is loving her reaction, saying that Miel DXEs has stopped working. Hembit then brings out the Holy Kingdom's flag and tells her to show it to the guildmaster, who should be upstairs right now. Chat thinks that dude is moving too fast to be meeting the guildmaster this early. Also, there's a guy who has a problem with Hembit crossing his arms. Imagine someone crossing arms is your biggest problem of the day. Someone needs to be robbed of his blessed life. Miui XE is still lagging, but it's functional now. She tells him that he can't call for the guildmaster like he's calling his cat named Khalid Kashmiri. Hembit knows that he's making an unreasonable request, so he lets go of this topic, totally unrelated to this matter. Hembit brings out another lemony flower and offers it to her as not a bribe, but a thank you. Miel stays strong at first, but this guy is intentionally pushing the flower closer to her nose, not to convince her, but simply to thank her properly. Miel accepts his gift and, totally out of goodwill with nothing to do with this flower, agrees to show the emblem to the guildmaster and arrange a meeting if possible. Hembit asks Lopia if Miel, Flona, and Rhea can see him because he's having no part in their conversations or anything. Lopia states that he's intentionally keeping his presence minimal so the stream can focus on Hembit. He may be contributing nothing, but it's surely the best strategy right now. Upon Hembit's inquiry, he clarifies that 0 contribution means 0 rewards, but he will still get credit for clearing the quests. He claims to enjoy watching everything unfold beside him more than he does. His edited videos are blowing up lately. Before he continues the yapping session, chat cuts him off, saying someone should stuff his mouth and shut him up. Lopia summarizes it, saying that the more famous Hembit becomes, the happier he is for him. Just then, Meal calls out Hembit and introduces him to the Guildmaster, and it turns out the Guildmaster is this Gigachad. He asks Hembit if he's the one who summoned him. The two stand in silence while Hembit thinks about how long it has been since he saw Cowan. The smile on his face is proof that Hembit likes GM. By GM, we mean Guildmaster and not gay men. Meal breaks the silence, stating that Cowan needs to evaluate Hembit's rank since it's beyond the scope of her work. Gigachad Master brings out a card and asks Hembit to place his hand on it. He informs Hembit that he's an adventurer of the guild from this moment, and all his achievements would be visible through this card. He then gives Hembit his Dio's ranked evaluation. This is shocking for chat because they were given an F rank, F for the failure they are in life. Even Male is surprised because not one bagged Cowan's Dio was right from the start. Cowan tells her that there are exceptions to every rule, so she should just accept it. For obvious reasons, Male is not a cold, heartless lady to Mr. GM. That 2-incher in the chat who claimed her to be his wife is watching his wife lust over Giga Chad. He then asks Hembit about the emblem in his office. Hembit tells Mr. Giant Mogger that he found it in the underground waterway. Toporish Cowan reveals that this cloth is used to make battle uniforms of Holy Kingdom soldiers. That could only mean that Holy Kingdom has already infiltrated Edlin. Hembit tells him that this is exactly why he came to him. While he has no interest in protecting all of Edlin as Cowan does, he still has a baddie, a tsundere, and a cute child to protect. Cowan asks about the people he wants to protect, so Hembit intentionally reveals their names, and something changes when he mentions Ria's name. Hembit quickly moves on with the conversation, saying that they can't ignore this. Cowan knows that they need to first confirm the infiltration, so he gives Hembit a task to investigate the underground sewers and report to him if he finds anything sus. He can't let anyone know yet, so it's an unofficial order. Hembit accepts it right away, and the system window pops up with some rewards for completing Subquest 3. The main quest branch has been reset. The third main quest is to earn Cowan's trust by finding evidence of a possible infiltration. The current progress of the main story is at 28% now, which is shocking for Lopia. As they leave the guild, Loper asks Hembit to wait for a bit because he needs to do what Spain did to France in the semi-final. While Loper is taking his time to log in again, Hembit reads the messages from chat, wondering why Hembit is still using a beginner-grade sword and not something more lethal like your crush's smile or something. Hembit fully intends to replace it once he gets his first paycheck from the dungeon. Just then, someone tries to attack Hembit from behind. He barely blocks it, so the attacker feels relieved that Hembit is not a big deal or anything. Hembit asks this scary-looking guy about his identity, but right now, he has bigger issues to address. With a wide level gap, he knows he can't hold out much longer. However, Hembit lets that ugly mask guy believe he can take Hembit out to finally let the attack slip and grab his mask. He launches a fire blast right to his face, so the poor guy doesn't have to wear a mask every time he needs to look ugly. Why Hembit? The attacker steps back and Hembit asks him again about his identity. One side of the blade is already damaged, so Hembit can't have another clash of swords. Just then, a ninja star is thrown at him. He avoids it, but it seems that the ninja star is imbued with poison. There's another attacker here. This guy has a more disgusting face than what Lopia must be letting out right now. Cute Hembit is not some hoe to take two guys at once. By the way, the one who tried to cut Hembit down is Cutter, and the one who triggers every curse word in your mouth just by showing his ugly face is Trigger. There's this strange mark next to their IDs, and their names are red. Turns out, these two are PKs. This information guy then donates 5k and reveals that anyone with a PK mark is treated as a criminal. Eliminating a PK has no penalty, whereas a PK can't trade and suffers harsher penalties the higher his PK mark is. The PK guild also brought some eye candy in the shape of this third attacker, who tries to attack Hembit from behind. She wanted to land a hit before the 2-incher hits on her, but she has successfully failed, just like the other two Fum Ducks. This baddie goes by the name Shabre. She's shocked at how just a level 20 dodged her attacks, but what's more shocking is just how slim fit that shirt is. Ma'am, Trigger tells her not to think of Hembit as some ordinary player. Even Trigger sounds like someone intelligent when compared to a woman. Hembit brings out Sylph and points his sword at these bad guys, asking what they want. Both Hembit and Sylph are not happy with their bad manners. Trigger tells him that they are just his fans wanting to say hi to him since they were in the area for business. The only business they have is to do someone's dirty work like an illegal janitor or something. Wind Spirit Sylph joins Hembit in provoking the enemy. Trigger gets triggered and tries to trigger back Hembit by saying that since he likes him, he'll only slime him 50 times using those ninja shots. Hembit appreciates the generosity because it is 10 times less than the shots he took on Trigger's mama. Hembit opens his status window and adjusts his stats to prioritize agility, because 1v1 might give him a chance. Since they all attacked him first, Hembit's axe will only be seen as self-defense. Hembit then covers his stream for a bit, but the chat is not happy with this because they want to see the ambush. Hembit jumps at his number 1 fan to give him some fan service, and launches a fire blast up close. Hembit then pretends to run away to trigger his number 1 fan into following him before the others. As expected, he is the first one to follow like a good dog. Hembit launches another fire blast, but Trigger thinks that it's getting boring now. He can sense Hanbit's presence just from the vibrations in the air, so trying to hide using these silly tricks is useless. He launches multiple ninja stars towards Hanbit, or where he thinks Hanbit must be. Little boy has no idea that Hanbit is already standing on the top of the building behind him, farming aura while making him look like a fool. He mixed Sylph's wind into the dust and the idiot completely fell off it. He's now fighting the dust and Hanbit expects him to keep it up like a good boy while he deals with the cutter and the baddie first. While the Halloween costume guy is still clueless about Hanbit's whereabouts, our guy jumps at him. We should have slimed him. Turns out to be his last words as Hanbit becomes the Mikasa of Trigger's story. A single slash and Trigger can never give head to anyone now. Hanbit receives 5,000 experience points, which is a bit surprising since what he did is called PK. Trigger's not the only one biting dust because Hanbit's sword has also ran out of free trial. He then opens the system window and turns the stream back on. After all, his viewers must be going crazy by now. He asks chat about the EXP points he got, wondering if that was a bug or something. Seeing that bro has already finished that guy while being unscratched makes them think that he's the bug here. Anyways, PK Patrol donates 5k and reveals that this is normal. Some players have even formed groups to hunt PKers and farm experience points. Hanbit thinks that those hunting others for points are monsters. Surprising for someone to be calling others of his kind monsters. Cutter and Baddie enter the scene. They didn't expect their fellow clown to not even last longer than a virgin. Hanbit isn't too happy at seeing the fellows of deceased. After all, he wanted to take them out one by one. His intentions of taking them out may vary depending on the enemy's gender. They found his location because he turned on the stream, so this 2v1 is on him. You know when bad guys are about to bully an innocent character, that's when the main character, the aura farmer, the solo leveler makes his entrance and rescues the weak person. Same happens here as Lapia enters the scene to rescue his princess Hanbit. The 2v2 fight splits into two 1v1 matches. The baddie decides to take on Lapia so she can quickly get rid of the cider and head for the main dish. Cutter wants to take on Hanbit so he agrees. Lapia is ready to show no mercy to them. Lapia has zero fear in him, his legs are only shaking because he's working on his footwork. People may think he's trembling with fear, but that's his routine before unleashing the beast. You know when bad guys are about to bully two innocent characters, that's the perfect time for Kimjaka to enter the scene. It's now 2v1 for the baddie, and 1v1 for Cutter. That is, if no one else makes a grand entry. Hanbit asks them to hold out until he cuts this Cutter guy. Cutter asks how he's going to defeat him when he doesn't even have a weapon. Hanbit reminds him that a man is never without weapon. He proudly says that while he looks down, no, not there, he's talking about the sword on the ground that belonged to Trigger. Cutter doesn't want his fun to be reduced, so he warns Hanbit that he'll face a penalty for equipping this weapon if he doesn't have the required stats to wield it. Hanbit picks it up, saying that he'll never know without trying. The weapon is at least rank 3, and it's heavier than the burden you are for your family. Cutter thinks that Hanbit is a fool for choosing a heavy weapon in a battle of speed. Chad is getting bored now. They think that Cutter started PKing because he didn't find anyone who would listen to his yapping sessions. They want him to shut up now. Meanwhile, Hanbit wonders if he's ready for this weapon. He did master this weapon in those 55 cycles, but this is the first time in this cycle. Just then, he unlocks a new effect of his 55th recorder title. 1. He would max out the proficiency of skills that he learned in those lives very quickly in this cycle. Also, the performance is scaled up based on the level of experience. Spirit Power's effect will increase dramatically. Thirdly, he doesn't have to meet the requirement quota of previously learned skills. The skill won't be that strong until his stats match up, but the difference is kept minimum. There's another one, but that is still locked. The only hint is NPC, so maybe it's one of the previously known baddies, or maybe we'll be blessed with another one. Anyways, Hanbit can now use this sword. Cutter, who should be called Chatter instead, yaps something again, but we're gonna ignore his words like terms and conditions page. Turn out the guy is actually strong as Hanbit is sent flying just with a single block. The Geofag and Loper are worried, but this girl with two big and pointy horns reminds them that she's the one they should be worried about. As they begin the fight, the scene shifts to Hanbit and Cutter exchanging attacks mid-air. Chatter turns out to be extremely fast. Not only is he dodging all of Hanbit's attacks, but by the time Hanbit fully braces the impact, Chatter is already launching the next one. Seeing that Hanbit is trying to go for some spirit magic, he charges right at him, only to be baited into a fire burst attack. Perks of having a big mouth and small brain. However, Chatter uses magic steel to come out of the attack unharmed. Chatter praises the attempt, and generously offers another surrender chance. Hanbit thinks that Cutter should throw in his mom in the offer as well if he wants him to consider. Nah, he didn't say that, sorry. Hanbit just wants him to yap less and fight more. The swords keep clashing as Chat realizes that this Chatter can actually move his hands just as well as his mouth. They are also wondering whether Hanbit got that weapon penalty or not. After all, he's so good that it's hard to tell. Anyways, Chatter mocks him since it's taking Hanbit's everything just to block. If this keeps up, Hanbit will never be able to hit. With a smirk on his face, Hanbit tells him that that's what his mama used to say. He charges at Chatter to land a hit, but he successfully blocks it and calls his attempts futile. He then counters with a phantom skill that should decide the battle. What Hanbit is seeing in front is an after image. Cheddar is actually behind him about to deal the final blow. Somehow, with the power of God, game devs, and author, Hanbit blocks it. Cheddar is going to change his approach, and now he wants to blow Hanbit off. Blow Hanbit away along with his sword. He may not get the chance though, because Hanbit is launching a spirit attack. To reduce the chances of a successful hit, Trigger jumps from one place to another like an illegal immigrant on the run. Hanbit then throws his sword at him, but Trigger evades it easily. The sword was a distraction, as Hanbit is now as close to Trigger as AOT fans are to a mental breakdown. He grabs Trigger's arm and throws him at the ground with full force. Despite taking some damage, Trigger is back on his feet. Hanbit charges straight at him, with just his massive balls of steel and no weapon. Just as he is about to get into an attack reach, Trigger slips in a sneak attack, but thanks to Hanbit's ridiculously fast reflexes, he blocks it. Not just that, but every attack Trigger is throwing his way is getting either dodged or blocked. Still, Trigger doesn't have anything to worry, because Hanbit is unarmed. That's what he thinks because the boomerang sword is coming back like Thor's hammer, named Jonathan, making its way back to Thor. Hanbit uses the sword's speed to gain momentum and throws everything into this extremely powerful attack. Finally, for once, we see Cheddar shutting up because all his energy is going into blocking this attack. He couldn't hold it back any longer and diverts the attack, resulting in him losing a dagger to Hanbit that he promises to fully treasure. This is a soul-bound weapon, so Hanbit shouldn't be able to use it, but since he can, and it's covered in green, Cheddar uses his small brain to deduce that Sylph must have done something. He doesn't know what it is, but he's not going to back down. His aura turns purple as he uses a rank 4 smoke skill. Despite hiding in smoke, he still can't land a hit because Hanbit keeps predicting where the attack is going to come from. He's not predicting actually, the killing intent is too visible. Using a skill and mastering it are two different things. Well, he can't blame Cheddar for not mastering it. After all, it's not something that can be achieved in a year or two. In the end, Cheddar is nothing more than an imitation. Using his own dagger, Hanbit stabs him in the shoulder and pins him to the wall. At this point, Hanbit looks like a more experienced PKer than Cheddar. Hanbit denies this claim, saying that he's just an average neighborhood simpin. While taking his last breaths, Cheddar asks Hanbit if he knows what the best part about these games is. It's that the pain that he's feeling by getting stabbed, and the pain of getting his arm torn off is all fake. It's not real.